Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Jason Minix, The Blitz.
Well, good Monday afternoon. Welcome in to the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. James Pledger producing as always. Hope you guys had a great weekend. I had a fantastic weekend doing absolutely nothing. I did nothing this weekend, and it was great. I did not know that, my wife's and her, she had to work on Saturday, so I had like Saturday morning to myself. We did go to the Missions game on Saturday night. Yesterday, did a whole lot of nothing but cook some beef ribs on the Traeger, and those were fantastic, and watched a lot of the Hall of Fame ceremonies. And what I did, because I went to the Missions game on Saturday night, I had taped all the Saturday night stuff, and I watched a lot of that Sunday morning. So I'm almost speeched out, if you will. But there were a lot of fantastic speeches. And again, you love those moments, especially because of your childhood. And I saw somebody on Twitter say something like, yeah, you're getting old when the guys that you started fantasy football with are now going into the Hall of Fame. And then I think about, Calvin Johnson, who goes into the Hall of Fame. It was pointed out that he was a freshman in college at Georgia Tech as Tom Brady was winning his third Super Bowl. He's played an entire Hall of Fame career, waited his 5 years, goes into the Hall of Fame, and Tom Brady is still playing. Speaking of Calvin Johnson, are there any Lions fans that listen? I don't know. I know one guy who's a Lions fan, just one. But I ordered a T-shirt from the Pro Football Hall of Fame for Drew Pearson going into the Hall of Fame that I planned on wearing yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And then my receipt says Drew Pearson. Everything on the packaging says Drew Pearson. I didn't screw up ordering it. But my T-shirt that came in the mail is this wonderful Calvin Johnson T-shirt. I'm guessing whoever was filling orders went, oh, blue shirt. Okay. I don't know how you make that mistake. The Hall's correcting it, though. They're sending me a new T-shirt. And then they said, you don't have to send that one back. I was like, well, what am I going to do with it?
The funniest
thing, donate it.
The funniest thing is you say like one Lions fan. I think that's like status quo. Like everybody knows one Lions fan. I think I know one Lions fan.
Well, and, the one Lions fan that I know, a guy named Scott Stroop, I don't know that he could wear an extra large shirt. I mean, I think about it. His wife, Emily, she's, little. That'd be a long dress on her. So, I mean, I don't know what to do with this Calvin Johnson T-shirt, but the Hall does not want it back. They're sending me my Drew Pearson shirt. Then it should get here Thursday, according to the UPS tracking thing. And then I was like, well, you didn't send a return envelope in this thing. Do you send a label or what do we do so I can send this back to you? He said, just keep it. So, but I don't want it. I have
any memories of the great Megatron?
No, not really. I mean, and I think that's part of it. If it were some sort of college shirt, I might wear it. I mean, I've got a variety of colleges. I'm a UT fan. I'll wear UTSA gear. I'll wear Arizona State gear. I'll wear Navy gear. Obviously, Sam Houston State, your national champions. But no, I'm not gonna. I don't even think I ever had that dude on my fantasy teams ever. But
what?
No, I've got. No, I don't think that I ever had Megatron on a fantasy team. I certainly didn't have him on any that won me money. So screw it. I don't need this shirt. I mean, you look at it and sit there and say, nah. And I was really bummed because, you get the Drew Pearson shirt, you wear it on the day and you open the box, you get the delivery notification. And so you walk all the way down to your mailbox, which is something you do about once a week anyway. You only go check your mail. If you're like me, you go check your mail when you think something good is in there, not any other time. Like the mailman knows, if he just delivered once a week, he'd be fine. Just a big old stack of nothing. But I go down there to check it, and I get the box, and I'm all excited, and I open it up, and I was like, I know I didn't misorder it. Nope, the receipt says Drew Pearson. The emails all say Drew Pearson. They're fixing it, but it was a little frustrating. The Hall of Fame ceremony itself, as they always do, certainly live up to the hype. And speaking of Drew Pearson, he certainly enjoyed his moment.
The wait is over! How about that?
How about that? And I'm impressed that all those guys stayed within their time limit, especially Drew Pearson. I mean, Drew Pearson had a whole lot of things to say because here is a man who wanted it almost too badly. They're and he's in other Hall of Fames. He's in the Cowboys Ring of Honor, but Drew Pearson needed the validation that comes with being in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And year after year, I know how much it hurt him when he would get passed over, to the point that a lot of people were like, Drew, let that go. Let that go. And Drew Pearson never let go of hope of one day being in Canton, Ohio.
You know, there were times I remember I had to fight just to hold my head up. Those times when even my friends tried to make a fool of me. There were things that my heart would attack that they just couldn't see. Some said I was hopeless, a mind tangled in the night. But guess what? Strong hearts just keep going. And that's why I'm standing here tonight at the steps of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I seen the light and the sun break through the storm, and I'm standing here as a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
I thought Drew was fantastic, although quite honestly, I probably would have said that regardless. I mean, I was so excited for Drew Pearson, knowing what this weekend and that moment and everything leading up to it has meant to Drew Pearson. But I look at some of the other speeches. Edgerrin James killed it. That dude was funny. Isaac Bruce, I don't know that I've ever heard you talk before, but I didn't expect that. And even Kurt Warner was a little surprised. Apparently some scout or somebody called him a long time ago, and he's had that chip on his shoulder ever since. Them getting the hair right for Troy Polamalu, I thought was fantastic. I think Peyton Manning delivered his level of funny that you would expect with a handful of lines, whether it was about Ray Lewis's speech just now ending or Tom Brady going in 2040 or whatever he said. But did Peyton Manning sound like he was running for commissioner? That almost sounded like a political speech about caring for the game and doing something moving forward with the game. It was as if he was running for commissioner of the National Football League.
I'm all in. Peyton for commissioner 2022.
I mean, although, are we mad at Roger Goodell right now?
No.
I mean, Roger Goodell's done a good job, and especially everything through COVID and whatnot. Although I wish he would make a decision on Deshaun Watson. But besides that, I think he has done a good job. I don't know where Peyton is going to go in the world of football, because he's turned down so many broadcast jobs, although he and Eli are going to do some offshoot of Monday Night Football this year, which, man, that sucks for Steve Levy, because I know what I'm going to be watching. Because even Eli is showing that he could be funny, leading, now that he's not playing and going around with Eli face representing the Giants. But you look at Peyton Manning and you wonder, is there ownership in his future? Is there TV in his future, which obviously there is if he wants it? Or could he actually end up being the commissioner of the National Football League at one point? He certainly has the business IQ to do that, the respect all across the board, but he just sounded political while he was up there. Jimmy Johnson, I thought, delivered a great speech. And, of course, what everybody wanted to know was about Jerry, and Jimmy knew that and addressed that right off the bat.
I guess you're asking, you want to know what I'm going to say about Jerry Jones. Well, Jerry, you told me. You said, we're going to make sports history before we ever bought the Cowboys, before you bought the Cowboys, because I didn't pay a damn cent. And you know what? We we did make sports history. Not only for the Dallas Cowboys, but for the NFL. To go from the worst team in the league 2 years in a row to winning back-to-back Super Bowls and building a heck of a football team. We did it, and let me tell you, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, Jerry. Thank you for giving me that opportunity.
Yeah, there is no doubt. You know, and I didn't realize Jimmy was 78 till he said it. And I know that when we were in Oxnard, California, at Cowboys training camp a couple of weeks ago, and Jerry Jones was on the Blitz. The one thing that, as I'm sitting there interviewing Jerry Jones, and he's at the table with us, although, you know, he's at the end because, you know, social distancing. But a lot of times when you're doing an interview with somebody, they sit beside you in a situation like what we're in. But Jerry was sitting at the end of the table so we could keep that distance in there to make the NFL happy. So I'm looking at him, and honestly, a lot of times throughout the interviews, I'm looking at him going, damn, he looks old. Right? That's going through your mind while you're having that conversation. I know a lot of you that saw the photos or the video thought the same thing. Jerry's looking old. And Jimmy Johnson had a point in his speech when he talked about QTL, quality time left. And that hits you. It really does. And I think when you think about what we saw the other night, and we talked about it some on Friday, about Jerry and Jimmy on the set together there for the Thursday night game. I guess it was Thursday night. We talked about it Friday. And Jerry put on the spot, but committing Jimmy to the Ring of Honor. I think both of them realize that time is running out. You have to take advantage of the quality time left you have. And what a motto. I know Jason Garrett likes one-word things written on T-shirts like fight. So whether they're printed or he uses a Sharpie and hand writes them on his Giants T-shirts, and he did that in Dallas, QTL is something that I think you've got to start living by. A lot of people, you know, I like to travel. I like to go things. I like to create memories with my family, my wife, my kid. QTL is important. And I'm not at the stage where that is majorly ticking, but knowing that I lost my father less than 2 years ago, but what his ending was like with illness, how much that sucked. QTL is so important, and I'm glad Jimmy Johnson pointed that out, because I think you could tell with a lot of those guys, especially the older ones, whether you're talking about a Cliff Harris, you're looking at Jimmy Johnson, your Cowher, you know, the older guys, seeing Gil Brandt on that stage, and you talk about quality time left. That's incredible. And again, those guys will all be immortalized in the Hall forever. And the stories that they're going to be able to tell. And as Peyton in his speech talked about running plays, getting everybody involved from Otto Graham all the way up. You know, you get guys like Megatron. They got a lot of years left as left to live as Hall of Famers. These other guys, some of these other guys, they don't have that time. I thought it was an incredible weekend, and it's always great to hear all the stories of the people that they thank along the way, how tough it is. Jimmy talked about how hard it is on coaches' families, and if you know coaches, you understand that, and you, especially if you know a coach's wife. But at the same time, every player thanking their coaches from middle school, from high school, from college, and they don't forget those lessons that they learned along the way. And I think about all the high school coaches now that I work with is, you know, we're less than 3 weeks away from kicking off the high school football season. First game here on the San Antonio Sports Star, by the way, is going to be Johnson against Wagner. Can't wait. But you look at it and you think about the impact that coaches make all the way up. Here's a guy that's made Hall of Fame level and still remembers his high school coach. It's incredible stuff. I enjoyed every minute of Hall of Fame weekend, with the exception of the package I ordered from the Hall of Fame in which they delivered the wrong T-shirt. That's going to happen. How you feeling about the Spurs and their draft pick, Josh Primo? Well, the Spurs sucked it up in the Salt Lake City Summer League. Josh Primo showed out. He played well. We'll talk about that coming up. They're in Vegas now for the Vegas Summer League. We'll get into some NBA news. Abraham Answer, San Antonio's own. He wins the FedEx St. Jude Invitational yesterday, his first tour win there on the PGA Tour. And he had to do it in the playoff. because another guy missed a 5.5-foot putt. He made a putt, the other guy missed, and Abraham Answer celebrated with some fantastic tequila, I'm sure. We're chasing down Abe. Hopefully we'll get Abraham Answer on the Blitz tomorrow. The Olympics have come and gone. I got to admit, this Olympics did nothing for me. It was hard to keep up with. I already knew who won half the events that NBC was showing at nighttime. I wasn't waking up at 2 a.m. to watch some stuff, downloading Peacock and doing all that. NBC better figure something out before Paris to make it better. Because this Olympics, I think it's a combination of the time change, already knowing who won, or NBC deciding in prime time, let's show Americans not winning, knowing that they won some events, but that's not what I got to see on NBC. I don't know how that contract works on how they decide what they need to show, but I wasn't much of a fan of it. I did watch on Friday night Team USA basketball win the gold medal, and I learned something. Coaches don't get medals. I don't know why the coaches don't get a medal, but what a moment at the medal ceremony when all the players started giving Greg Popovich their medals so he could get the photos with those medals. Happy for Keldon Johnson. He got a gold medal. Kevin Durant certainly changing a lot of people's minds and opinions about him. He was a stud. Team USA wins gold. Team USA women win gold. They blew everybody out along the way, and the United States does win the medal race. They had by far the most medals, but they ended up edging out China on the final day yesterday to finish with 39 gold medals. We'll talk about that. Obviously, we'll talk about some Cowboys coming up here on the Blitz. Calvin Watkins from the Dallas Morning News. He'll join us just after 5 o'clock. We'll get into what we saw in the scrimmage, the fight that we saw in the scrimmage. Now, I got to tell you, if you're trying to make the team, and you've already been on the team, but you're trying to get in with your teammates, after what we saw that offensive line do last year with the Dallas Cowboys, by watching Andy Dalton get his head damn near taken off and not do a thing about it, I appreciate Connor Williams getting into it with Aaron Donald. Now, I wouldn't recommend getting into it with Aaron Donald. That is a bad dude. But Connor Williams did. Showed no back down. Tony Pollard, he got into it. Cornerback Jordan Lewis, he got in. Now, you never want to see fights in practice, but you like the scrappiness. I mean, nobody pulled off their helmets and started going nuts, but I appreciate what Connor Williams did, although I can't say that I would recommend what Connor Williams did. There are some people you don't need to go after. You definitely don't want to go after Aaron Donald. But at the same time, man, that shows some toughness. That was big. That was big. Calvin Watkins will join us, like I said, at 5 o'clock. Talk some Cowboys as they get ready for preseason game number 2 coming up on Friday night against the Arizona Cardinals. And yes, Vince Trevino on Facebook Live talking about Hard Knocks debuting tomorrow night. We'll talk a lot about Hard Knocks tomorrow as we get ready for the first episode, the over-under on certain things that we think we're going to see in Hard Knocks, all that kind of stuff. So we will certainly have that as well. We've got a couple of pairs of tickets to the Hunters Extravaganza coming up in a couple of weeks over at the Freeman Coliseum Expo Hall. We will give those away as well. And there's a interesting story brewing over off I-10 and 1604 at UTSA that we're going to talk about. Come and take it. That slogan, that flag, has been around since the beginning of UTSA football and associated with the UTSA football program. Now, you think about some of the history, with Gonzalez and where it originated, and you can go even further back with that saying. Well, UTSA built that incredible new facility for athletics called the Race Facility, the Roadrunners Athletic Center for Excellence. They opened that and debuted it the other day, and the Come and Take It slogan is prominent on a wall there with the UTSA logo. Some faculty types over at UTSA over the weekend started a petition to remove it, saying that it was racist. Now, I realize that some things, some people view differently than others. I look at that saying and I think it's fine. It's about Texas. But when you look at some of the various political things that have happened and you go back to January 6th at the Capitol and that slogan was used in ways that probably don't represent. In fact, I know they don't represent the views of UTSA or the meaning in which UTSA football and athletics uses come and take it. It's a rallying cry. It started as a rallying cry. There's flags. You see it on their social media. It's now a fourth quarter thing. But at the same time, Dr. Amy, the president of UTSA, put out an email today to everybody on the staff and the faculty saying that he is putting together a task force to study what the meaning should be. And they've put up a sign next to it in the facility explaining the origins of which UTSA is using it. And, of course, some of the history and the negative opinions of such. And I think that's all the president could do at this point. We'll see. As Dr. Amy points out in his email to the staff, the university isn't that old. The football program is, not that old. So the traditions they have, if you're going to change them, now's really kind of the time to change them. It's not like the Eyes of Texas, which has been a part of the university for 100 years. And he recognizes that some people might be offended by it. What are they going to do? How are they going to address it? We'll talk about that as well as we continue here on the Blitz. And, of course, we want you to be a part of the show. 210-656-ESPN is the telephone number, 210-656-3776. You can also get us on Twitter. I am at Jason Minix. Pledge is at I am Pledger. Deshaun Watson was at practice today, actually throwing footballs. He was playing quarterback today. The Deshaun Watson story is all over the place. Does he still want to get traded? Will he waive his no-trade clause? Will he change his mind and actually play for the Houston Texans because he wants to play? I don't think anything's changed with Deshaun based on all the reports I've read. But he loves playing football, and seeing him out there throwing passes, you realize your best quarterback leaves practice when team drills start. And for the life of me, I don't even know why they keep putting him out there. I mean, I know you're there. I know you're showing up so you don't get fined. But at the same time, why David Culley continues to allow Deshaun to be a distraction. I see more info on what Deshaun does or does not do at practice than what I actually see the Texans doing or not doing. Then again, is it going to be a lost season for the Houston Texans? ESPN has all their FPI, Football Power Index stuff released today. The Texans and what they're predicted to do this year, not good. For the first time in the history of the FPI, which really isn't all that old, but the Houston Texans are going to field what they believe is the worst offense and the worst defense. That's never happened before, and that is under the assumption that Deshaun Watson will not play for the Texans this season. We'll tell you what they think of the Cowboys winning the NFC East and who they think will end up in the Super Bowl. All that and more, and, of course, your calls on the Kia Bossa Bacon phone lines, 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. So we just wrapped up a Hall of Fame weekend, so that means you automatically have to start looking ahead. Who's the next Dallas Cowboy to go in? Who should it be? Because I think the last of Super Bowl champions, they're done. Cowboys haven't won in a long time. Don't say Tony Romo, although he is on the list. We'll talk about that as we continue here on the Blitz on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. You know, injuries do happen, so if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need to know about Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries, and he has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. There's no reason for you to be in pain, so if you're hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Learn more at TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com, or you can schedule an appointment by calling 210-804-5490, 804-5490 for TSAOG Orthopedics.
ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It was a tough Sunday for Texas baseball teams that San Antonio might care about. The Astros dropped their final game of their series against the Twins 7-5, but they remain in first place of the AL West. Lance McCullers had a start to forget, giving up 4 runs in 4 2/3 innings. The Texas Rangers find themselves in an off day today after their series with Oakland wraps up, with the A's sweeping the Rangers, taking all 3 games. Texas will start a 3-game series against Seattle before returning back to Arlington to take on the A's again in the friendly confines of Globe Life Park. And locally, San Antonio Missions dropped both games of a doubleheader in Amarillo, 4-0 in the first game and 2-1 in the nightcap. For San Antonio Sports Star, I'm Carl Schoening.
For nearly 30 years, Thomas J. Henry has fought day in and day out for every client we've had the honor of representing. In our town, in our community, we will always be the name you trust. Thomas J. Henry. Available 24/7 nights and weekends. San Antonio, Texas.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? My name is Ron LeGrand, and over 39 years, I bought over 3,000 houses without using my money or credit and taught thousands to do the same. Today, even in a COVID environment, we buy nice houses in nice neighborhoods using no banks, realtors, contractors, license, or other costly entanglements, and build big cash flow and huge wealth without the hassle of tenants, and all without using credit or little or no money. Text RON to 620-622-5500, and I'll send you my free training and show you exactly how we do it. I promise it'll open the door to a new lifestyle that doesn't involve risk or rehabs and can quickly replace your current income. Text RON to 620-622-5500 and let me show you how to take your life back and build a big cash flow quickly. That's Ron to 620-622-5500. Again, Ron to 620-622-5500.
WWE returns to San Antonio with Monday Night Raw, August 16th at AT&T Center. You'll see Goldberg. You're next. Plus, in a triple threat match for the Raw Women's Championship, you'll see Charlotte Flair.
You're not with my time.
Rhea Ripley.
Charlotte, we just really don't like you.
And Nikki A.S.H.
I could beat both of you.
And more. Tickets start at $20. Available at Ticketmaster.com.
Staples Connect has everything for back to school at amazing prices. Right now, Crayola 12-count colored pencils and 10+2 Crayola marker bonus packs and Bic Round Stick Ballpoint Pen 10 packs are just 97 cents each. So you won't just be ready for school, you'll be Prepared Parent of the Year ready.
I just want to thank my family and Staples for making this possible.
Visit your local Staples store or staples.com/back-to-school today and get more than ready for school. Ends 9/18, limit 30 on Crayola. Bic pens in store only.
While most water providers do a pretty good job making sure they exceed EPA guidelines, did you know EPA standards for tap water have not been updated in almost 20 years? With growing concerns of our aging infrastructure, more homeowners want to take their water quality into their own hands. That is why you should call Alamo Water Softeners and have them give you a free water analysis. Some chemicals and contaminants are undetectable. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference. Go to alamowatersofteners.com. That's alamowatersofteners.com.
It's summer. That means grilling season. Jason and Rob here for Tri-County Meat Market. Get into one of their 2 locally owned Tri-County Meat Markets for the best meat for your grill. Tri-County has carefully selected certified prime Angus beef cuts, Wagyu, and upper choice, including their own homegrown Wagyu.
Tri-County has everything you need to up your grilling game, from beef, chicken, pork, fajitas, poppers, and more. Stock up on that 5 for $25 Tri-County Meat Market on Ralph Fair Road over on Huebner or online at tricountymeat.com.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
The granddaddy of all hunting shows returns to San Antonio. The 2021 Hunters Extravaganza, August 20th through the 22nd at the Freeman Coliseum Expo Hall. Bring the kids and see Gator Country's huge alligators and last season's bucks in our annual deer contest. Check out the latest in hunting gadgets and gear and enter our locked and loaded mega giveaway to win big. August 20th through the 22nd at the Freeman Coliseum Expo Hall. For details and tickets, go to huntersextravaganza.com. A Texas Trophy Hunters production.
This is The Blitz with Jason Minix and the brightest sports insiders. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM. Call into the show on the Kielbasa Bacon phone lines, 656-ESPN. That's 656-3776.
Is Tony Romo a Hall of Famer? You're going to hear that question a lot over the next several months. Is he? 656-ESPN, 656-3776. It is The Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. James producing as always. Yeah, Tony Romo, Hall of Famer. He is highlighted as first-year eligible for the 2022 Hall of Fame class. So is DeMarcus Ware. Other notables, they've got Vince Wilfork, Steve Smith, Andre Johnson, Mario Williams, Anquan Bolden, Robert Mathis. I don't know that there's a surefire 100% first ballot Hall of Famer on the list next year. I'm partial. So when I say DeMarcus Ware, understand I'm coming from a big fan of D. Ware and the fact that he went to Denver to go get a Super Bowl ring. Robert Mathis, hell of a career. Andre Johnson, by far the best player in Houston Texans history. But did he do enough to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame? Quite honestly, beating the crap out of Cortland Finnegan during a game against the Titans was enough for me. But first ballot? I think about a guy like Darren Woodson. Darren Woodson needs to be up there. Jimmy Johnson said so. But I don't know of any other old school Cowboy, Chuck Howley, that might get in. So I think the days of the glory years for the Cowboys, those with Super Bowl rings getting into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, they're over. I don't even know if Tony Romo is, quite frankly, deserving of the Cowboys Ring of Honor. And I say that as a full-fledged Romo-sexual. But when I hear Jerry Jones on national television Thursday night when talking to Jimmy Johnson saying Tex Schramm told him keep it limited and make sure those that go in there are part of the story of the Dallas Cowboys. If you can't tell the story of the Cowboys without this person, then they don't go in there. Well, Tony Romo's a part of the story, but not one that has rings. I mean, Tony Romo's an incredible story. Don't get me wrong. Undrafted, Kurt Warner-like, except for Tony Romo doesn't have the playoff wins. I do think the Cowboys will put him in the Ring of Honor. But Pro Football Hall of Fame for Tony Romo? I don't think so. What do you guys think? 656-ESPN, 656-3776. I don't know, Pledge. I mean, when you look at that list, and I know you're very much Houston Texans, red and blue. I mean, Andre Johnson,
no.
Yes.
Eventually, but not first ballot.
Not first ballot. That's what I mean. I mean, will he eventually get in? It's a lot of wide receivers on there.
Mm-hmm.
Mario Williams.
Mario Williams.
No, I don't even. I mean, did Mario Williams first ballot, 14th ballot ever?
No.
I mean, should he even be on the list of notables? I mean, that kind of tells you where the 2022 class is. I mean,
I think
Peyton
DeMarcus is in, though.
You know,
maybe not first ballot, but second or third. He's going in rather quickly, I would think. He's got a Super Bowl. He's got a ton of sacks. He's extremely high on the sack list. I think he checks all the boxes to be a Hall of Famer, if not first ballot, very soon thereafter.
I agree, but I know, and he had to go to Denver to get there. Now, getting your jersey retired or going into your franchise's Ring of Honor or whatever, your franchise's Hall of Fame, the Cowboys call it the Ring of Honor. What do the Texans call it? The Andre Johnson hanging jersey? I mean, he's the only one. So, I mean, you look at it, that's step one. And the fact that Jerry hasn't done that for Romo yet. And maybe Jerry is waiting for Romo, Witten, and Dez to go in together.
Texans
And
just
the Ring
copied
of
the
Honor.
Cowboys. It's a Ring of Honor, too.
As I would think, well, I mean, what else do you call it? I mean, I know there's
Hall
a
of
variety
Honor?
of things. Yeah, well, I mean, again, they don't play in squared stadiums; it's a ring. So, yeah, I get that. But when I look at Romo, no, Witten. See, that's going to be the interesting debate. Witten, I do think gets in, even though he doesn't have the ring.
Absolutely.
Tony Romo. No, you don't have the playoff wins. More frustration than anything.
Here's the thing with that, though. Does he eventually get the Jimmy Johnson treatment? Because I'm not sure Jimmy was deserving of the Hall of Fame. If you look at it's a lot like Priest Holmes' Hall of Fame. There's a short window of greatness that has a couple of rings to it as well. But if you look at the grand total of his history as the head coach in the NFL, it's a lot of
Well,
outside of a 4-year window in Dallas.
You look at what Jimmy Johnson did. And if Jimmy Johnson wasn't on television every week and in the Broadcasters Hall of Fame, which I didn't even know he was a part of, I don't think he goes into the Hall of Fame. Jimmy Johnson had too short of a career for me to call it a Hall of Fame career, especially when you look at, for 1-15 to go win Super Bowls, that doesn't happen. The trades that he made, the teams that he built, that short window was certainly there, but is it Hall of Fame worthy? Well, you look at Terrell Davis. Terrell Davis, short career, he's in the Hall of Fame, but I look at what Jimmy did at Miami. I mean, sure, he made the playoffs a couple of times, but no Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he left the game, he went on television. If he would have left the game and just fished in Florida, I don't think Jimmy Johnson is in the Hall of Fame this weekend or at any point. So I do think, Tony Romo, what he does on television, does that change the mind of some voters? Probably not first ballot. Hopefully not first ballot. Because I look at the backlog of players and the exclusivity of the club that only so many go in every year, and they don't even max out every year. So you've got to get those votes. But this list of first-year eligible guys, I don't see a first ballot guy except for DeMarcus Ware, but the bulk of his career didn't have playoff or Super Bowl success. He did go get a ring at the end, but is that enough to say you're a first ballot Hall of Famer? And I'm trying not to sound biased because if I had a vote, I think I would vote for DeMarcus Ware, but I need to see where the backlog is for the guys that haven't been in. I would put in Darren Woodson, and if I had a vote, and I don't, I would vote Darren Woodson over DeMarcus Ware. Because I do think if John Lynch is in the Hall of Fame, Darren Woodson needs to be in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely. I think Woodson needs to be in there, and I'm right there, not knowing what the backlog is on people waiting to get in. Looking at those first ballot guys, the only one that I would consider potential first ballot would be DeMarcus Lawrence. Or DeMarcus Ware, excuse me.
I was going to say.
So many DeMarcuses in a Cowboy jersey.
Give D-Law a little bit of time and a couple of rings, and maybe he is going to be there. But not right
D-Ware
now.
of the list of first-time eligibles is the only one I see that I would go, yeah, I could see him as being a first-time guy.
I want to see what the presentations are like for Robert Mathis and Andre Johnson. Very quiet guy. And for a long time, the best player on bad teams. And I look at the numbers he put up with some of the quarterbacks that were throwing him the football. And that tells you how great of a player Andre Johnson was, especially very early on in his career. I mean, I think about some of the quarterbacks between Troy Aikman and Tony Romo. And quite frankly, they might have been better than a lot of the quarterbacks that were throwing the ball to Andre Johnson. See, I'm trying to convince myself that he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I mean, if you think about it, outside of the very, very end of his career when DeAndre Hopkins finally got there, you could argue the best number 2 he ever played with was Kevin Walter.
Yeah, Kevin was a good dude. And don't forget,
I'm aware
David
he was a
Anderson.
good dude.
Owen Daniel as a tight end. I mean, he played with some decent players. Decent. Not Hall of Famers.
Like, none of those guys you mentioned are going to lift coverage away from Andre Johnson at any point in time.
No. And even when he did have decent running backs like Steve Slayton.
Oh, God. He did get Arian Foster, though, for a
He did
shining
have
moment.
Arian Foster for a while, and Matt Schaub was fantastic for a couple of years until he turned into a pick-six machine. I mean, you think about some of the missed opportunities when Gary Kubiak was the head coach. And quite frankly, the guy that went into the Hall of Fame last night and sounded like he was running for commissioner, Peyton Manning. If it wasn't for Peyton Manning and some of those Colts teams, how different would the Texans organization be today if they were able to have some playoff success, win some division titles? I mean, because
it wasn't for Kubiak, though. Kubiak had the chance to go after Peyton that year he came out from Indy on the injury because Peyton wanted to kind of come to Houston and play in the division, but Kubes was too loyal to Schaub and wouldn't chase him. That hurts.
That does, hindsight being 50-50. I mean, if you go back, and Peyton even talked about it some in his speech, he will always be thankful for the Denver Broncos for taking a chance when not many would. And when you think about his medicals, you had a sure thing, or what looked like a sure thing with Matt Schaub. No, I mean, look, revisionist history is what it is. But at the time, they were rolling. They were doing some things. Now, I don't know that I would have made that decision, especially looking back on it now. You know, it's almost like the debate of
I scream for
do you
that.
take Peyton Manning or Ryan Leaf? Remember when that was a debate? You can't go wrong with either one.
Yeah, you
can't.
can.
Well, we certainly know now. But when you go back then, I mean, you had Peyton, you had Ryan Leaf. 1-2. Either way, you're going to be fine. Except for the Chargers were not. Because sometimes you just never know. Sometimes you never know. It's going to be interesting. It's always a fun debate. I kind of look at it, if I'm watching you play and ever question, is that a Hall of Famer? Then you're not. It's when you're playing and go, dude's a Hall of Famer. Like, Super Bowl wins or not, Tyron Smith is going to be a Hall of Famer. We know that. You know, there's certain players you just watch, you go Hall of Famer. First ballot, maybe not. Second ballot, third, but at some point, they're going to get into the Hall of Fame. Jason Witten, Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
DeMarcus Ware is a Hall of Famer, but is he going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer? This might be a good year for those voters to get some of the backlog in, because there's no requirement that you have to have a first ballot guy.
And
but when I see Tony Romo as the headliner, I look at that and go, "Are you kidding?" When Tony Romo headlines class of 2022, what?
And I always like to put out can you tell the history of the sport without said player? Peyton Manning, you definitely cannot tell the history of the sport without. I've always thought Drew Pearson, being the only person from that all-decade team never to be enshrined in Canton to that point, you couldn't tell the history of the game without Drew Pearson. A, because of the all-decade team. B, because of the Hail Mary and it being such an integral part of the sport of the NFL.
True, but when you look at on the Centennial class, when the second team wide receiver from that all-70s decade team and Harold Carmichael gets in and Drew doesn't, you understand why Drew took it personally.
Mm-hmm.
He was the only player on that all-decade team that wasn't in. Of course, now he is. When you look at Tony Romo, his story is incredible, from going undrafted to the heights and popularity and the money that he made, changing the game. But, dude, you got to have playoff success. And, again, he's on TV. Everybody thinks he's smart. He's selling a lot of Skechers shoes and a variety of other products. But does that put him in the Hall of Fame? And maybe at some point, you got to go in the Ring of Honor first. But don't tell me first ballot. Don't tell me Tony Romo leads the first-year eligible guys for 2022. And I'm a Romo-sexual. He ain't a Hall of Famer. Not first ballot Hall of Famer, anyway. It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. We'll talk some Dallas Cowboys coming up at 5 o'clock with Calvin Watkins of the Dallas Morning News. He will join us. He's in Oxnard as they get ready for their second preseason game coming up this Friday against the Arizona Cardinals. De'Aaron King cashing in on his NIL in a very unique way. We'll let you know about that. We'll also give away some tickets to the Hunters Extravaganza as we continue here on a Monday edition of The Blitz. You know, nobody ever plans on getting arrested, but it does happen to a lot of people every day for all kinds of reasons. If you get arrested and you want to get out of jail fast, best way to do that is to call my good friend Albert and his great staff at AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text the word bail to 474747, or you can even start the bonding process online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else to get out of jail, and you don't want to be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you a PR bond, make sure you truly understand what all those conditions are before accepting it. Your best option, AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans available, offer a free shuttle service. They're discreet and confidential and open 24/7 with offices all over San Antonio and Texas, services nationwide. Whether you're up in Dallas, down in Corpus, in the Valley, anywhere in between. License number 149. Text the word bail to 474747, or you can call AA Best Bail Bonds 210-225-2121 or online mybestbailbonds.com.
The Dallas Cowboys travel to the desert to take on the Arizona Cardinals in preseason action. Friday night. Coverage starts at 8 on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
Join us this Thursday at Slackers Medical Center to celebrate the launch of San Antonio Sports Star. Our whole crew will be on site battling it out in a special edition of Sports Star Olympics, basketball, beer pong, darts, and you could win cash prizes, Sports Star swag, and John Mayer tickets. It's all going down this Thursday at Slackers Medical Center location, starting at 4 with the Blitz, the official San Antonio Sports Star launch party with our friends at Slacker Sports and Arcade Bar. We'll see you out there.
There are many sides to running a business, and with Square, every side can be connected. So how you sell in person syncs with how you sell online, and how you take payments works with how you pay your team. And when all your tools work together, you can spend more time seeing your bigger picture take shape. See how Square can help connect every side of your business by visiting square.com/go/connect. That's square.com/go/connect.
O'Reilly. The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts will help with all your car care needs. Whether you're shopping for parts, accessories, or supplies, we've got you covered. Right now, get Superior Coverall Tire Shine 2 for $16. Plus, earn double O Rewards points. Keep your car looking like new. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Yes, the nagging pain is impossible, and you do everything possible to manage it. But QC Kinetics patients like Chad found out it wasn't just managing the physical pain.
It was mentally, emotionally, it was affecting all parts of my life, my family environment. It was hard when you couldn't go and do the things that your wife wanted to do, whether you go for a bike ride or take the dog for a walk.
Like many of you, Chad's hip and legs ache constantly. Maybe it's your back, hip, or shoulders. But here's the best news ever. QC Kinetics regenerative therapies help your body restore that damaged tissue and finally give you the relief you need.
Just being able to do these types of activities that I have done in the past, I'm back now, and I owe that all to QC Kinetics.
That same relief's waiting for you at QC Kinetics. Don't wait. Call for a free consultation. QC Kinetics, 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318. QC Kinetics, 210-571-0318.
And now, a man's thoughts on San Antonio Sports Star. What were you thinking?
That escalated quickly.
This is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
This is Rudy J on your home for Cowboys football. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. On Twitter, Ray Mendez 08 says, at Chase Minix, I'm also a big Romo fan. I'd be happy if he got in, but wouldn't complain if he didn't. If he did, Danny White should too. It's a great point. And Danny White doesn't get near the credit he should because he followed Roger and he never won Super Bowls. He led the Cowboys to a couple of NFC championship games. He does have a Super Bowl ring. Dude was the punter and backup quarterback on Super Bowl 12 when they beat the Denver Broncos. Yet his name is kind of trashed in the Cowboys organization. It's almost like a bad word. Oh, yeah, you're like Danny White. Ooh. No, Danny White was a hell of a player. He just didn't win Super Bowls, and the standard was such. You think about all the scrutiny that Tony Romo went through and what Dak Prescott goes through. Imagine if Danny White played back in the Twitter days. It'd be very, very different. Very different if they had Twitter when Danny White was playing. That's for sure. And let's give away some tickets. The Hunters Extravaganza is coming up at the Freeman Coliseum Expo Hall. I don't have it in front of me. August 20th, I believe, is the weekend. August 20, 21, and 22. We've got, what do we got, Pledge? Is it 2 tickets, 4 tickets?
We have...
You're not sure either, huh?
It doesn't officially say.
I think we've got a family 4-pack that we're going to give away right now. We'll give them to, speaking of Tony Romo, caller number 9, 656-ESPN, 656-3776. Caller number 9, you get yourself a family 4-pack of tickets to the 2021 Hunters Extravaganza, August 20th through the 22nd out at the Freeman Coliseum Expo Hall, the only real hunting show for Texas. Find out more info at huntersextravaganza.com. You want to go? 4 tickets, caller 9, in honor of Tony Romo, 656-ESPN, 656-3776. You know, all the NIL money that's available to all the college athletes now in every sport. Miami quarterback De'Aaron King, remember when he played for the University of Houston? He has signed an NIL that I didn't even think was possible, but it's brilliant. An NIL agreement with the Florida Panthers. Yeah, a hockey team. So you look at De'Aaron King, football player. He is going to appear at Panthers games, other Panthers events. He's going to work with their digital and social media teams. He's also going to have some merchandise available, his own concession menu items at the Panthers Arena. The Florida Panthers, it's a hockey team, have tapped in and said, how do we get college kids to come watch hockey? How do we get non-traditional hockey fans to come to a game, to support our team? Let's tap into the college kids. Let's get some of those guys. So he signs with a professional franchise, all granted, a sport he probably has never played. But I think it's a brilliant move on the part of the Florida Panthers, as well as De'Aaron King, because he's able to cash in. De'Eric is a superstar both on and off the field, is what their chief strategy officer said. His name is Sam Dewar. That's a guy that used to work for the soccer team here in San Antonio, which is very, very cool. You think about the money that he's making now that he's at Miami on his NIL deal versus what he would be making if he were to stay in Houston. Vastly, vastly different. You wonder how many other hockey teams or pro baseball teams, or for that matter, wonder if an NBA team will try to utilize the NIL availability for athletes. But I look at the Florida Panthers saying, how do we get college kids interested in hockey? I wonder if baseball teams or soccer teams, MLS teams, will see what the Florida Panthers are doing and try to tap into that as well. And because you've got such a variety of sports, there's no conflict there. I think it's a brilliant move on the part of the Florida Panthers to tie in with a quarterback there in Miami, because that's an organization that has struggled to catch on in Miami, except for those that are transplanted hockey fans, which is half of South Florida. Let's talk some Cowboys football. Calvin Watkins of the Dallas Morning News will join us next from Oxnard, California. We'll talk about their scrimmage with the Rams, look ahead and get an update on Dak Prescott's shoulder as we continue here on the Blitz on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. If you're shopping for a new vehicle, you know there's no better place to go than Ancira. Jason Minix here. I can tell you firsthand because I am a longtime Ancira customer. Through the years, I have bought many vehicles from Ancira, and it's because of how well Ancira takes care of you before, during, and most importantly, after the sale. That great customer service is why Ancira has been a top family-run dealership in San Antonio for decades. They're going to make sure you're getting the vehicle you want with all the options and features that you're looking for. They'll give you great value on your trade-in, the best rebates and financing options that are available, and their service after the sale is second to none. And you know price made Ancira number one. Price keeps Ancira number one. So think Ancira. Ancira Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram Truck, part of the Ancira I-10 complex on I-10 West between Wurzbach and Huebner.
It's that time. Buses, school zone, study hall, and the classroom. It's back to school. And to make it special, you have the chance to win $1,000 in San Antonio Sports Star's back to school giveaway. $500 for you and $500 to donate to your school. No way. Register now at sasportstar.com. Powered by Awero's Automotive Paint and Supplies. Good luck from San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Howdy, San Antonio. Chip Ingram from the Roo Pub and the Angry Elephant, inviting you to come out and enjoy patio season. We have newly remodeled patios, garage doors, and everything else you need to enjoy this great South Texas weather. As always, ice cold beer and specialty drinks. Happy hours daily from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And our kitchen is open from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. See you soon at the Roo Pub and the Angry Elephant at 281 and Redland Road.
Napa know-how.
Right now, a 5-quart jug of Napa full synthetic motor oil is just $18.99. It keeps your engine from breaking down without breaking the bank. Yep, a 5-quart jug of Napa full synthetic for $18.99 is not just a great deal. It's the break you've been waiting for. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating locations does not include state local taxes or recycling fees. Advertised sales price may not be available in some states. Offer ends 8/31/21.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents
And Doug.
Check it out, Limu. A roadside carnival.
Step right up, folks. Test your strength. Come see the fire-breathing baby.
Let's fan out and tell people that Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Look! An emu wearing sunglasses!
Limu, you're famous. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage and Rocket Companies. Last year, we saw historically low mortgage interest rates. What you may not know is that interest rates are already starting to increase, and it's likely that trend is only going to continue. Our team of experts is standing by to help you save before rates go up. Don't look back and wish that you had taken action. Call 833-8-ROCKET or visit rocketmortgage.com.
Rocket. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states and MLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
You hear all the time about Diamonds Direct's prices and selection and warranties. All true, and all good reasons to give us a visit. But what really sets Diamonds Direct apart is something that's hard to put into words. But you will feel it. You'll know it from the minute you walk in. It's our unique culture, our passion, our genuine and absolute desire to totally revolutionize the way you experience jewelry shopping. It's why we do what we do. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
The home of the Rangers. This is Rangers Radio on KCDC. San Antonio Sports Star. ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Jason Minix.
Calvin
The Blitz.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Glad to have you along on this Monday afternoon. I'm Jason Minix, and get me on Twitter at Jason Minix. James Pledger producing as always. He's on Twitter at I Am Pledger. This hour we'll talk with Calvin Watkins of the Dallas Morning News. He is in Oxnard. We'll look at the situation brewing with the slogan, "Come and take it," as it relates to the UTSA football team, and if it's offensive, and should UTSA stop using it. The president of UTSA is putting together a task force to study the slogan, "Come and take it," which obviously is prominent on the new athletic facility that they unveiled last week. But let's head out to Oxnard, California. Calvin Watkins from the Dallas Morning News joining us now. Calvin, appreciate you taking the time. I know it's an interesting time there in Oxnard. You had the scrimmage on Saturday with the Rams. My first thought is, what was Connor thinking trying to get into it with Aaron Donald?
Well, you know, I think Connor Williams held his own since he slammed Aaron Donald. Look, sometimes these are grown men, and you're not going to punk me because I'm a grown man. And as Zach Martin said after the scrimmage, look, we don't care that you're all pro. We're professional athletes too, and if another guy's going to push me, we're going to push you back, and that's exactly what happened.
And I appreciate the fact that he did that, especially last year when Andy Dalton had his head taken off and nobody on the offensive line came to his defense. I think there's, and not that I think that he's in any jeopardy of not making this team, but at the same time, I think that goes a long way in the locker room that you picked on the toughest guy on the other side and took him down.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I kind of forgot about that when I was out there watching the scrimmage. Yeah, when Andy Dalton got basically knocked out of the game on a cheap shot, no one really stepped up to the plate to do anything. Yeah, and look, there were a lot of young guys out there. That was the excuse. But you know what? This is football. You got to protect your people, and they did not do that last year. And maybe, hopefully, it won't happen this year. But if it does, maybe we'll see some linemen step up. But that is a valid point. That Washington, no one really tried to protect Andy Dalton. But in this scrimmage, it really started in the one-on-ones when Connor Williams, he had to block Aaron Donald twice, and he did a very good job in stopping him. And now they get to the team drills, and Aaron Donald's all upset. So that was a good thing for Connor Williams.
Calvin Watkins from the Dallas Morning News with us here on the Blitz. You think about what we saw Thursday night in the preseason game, and there were some flashes and some positives, I suppose, that you could take from that. But in reality, so few starters playing in that game, other than Micah Parsons, who was the highlight of it. From what you saw Thursday to what you saw Saturday in the controlled scrimmage against the Rams, did you see improvement from your eyes? I know the coaches are always going to tell us that, but did you see it?
Yeah, I thought I kind of agree with Mike McCarthy that they did get better over the last 48 hours, and that scrimmage was really good. Offensively, I thought they really kicked the Rams pretty good offensively, and defensively too. I think they kind of shut some things down a little bit. Now, Deshaun Jackson, he's going to get free, and he beat two defenders for a long score. There wasn't a lot of sacks with Matthew Stafford, but for the most part, I thought they played really well defensively. And on the other side, CeeDee Lamb was carving them up. Zeke was doing a really nice job. I thought the offensive line did a good job of protecting Gary Gilbert and Ben DiNucci. I thought the Cowboys did improve a little bit. Now, from playing in that game on Thursday night, I think they had a little bit of a rhythm going to them as they got into the scrimmage. And the Rams were a little bit behind in terms of going up against somebody, because this was the first time they were going up against anybody. So that might have put them at a little bit of a disadvantage. But I thought the Cowboys, were very aggressive and they were feisty, and I think that's a good thing.
Calvin Watkins here on San Antonio Sports Star. You mentioned Zeke and what he did behind that first-team offensive line. And, I think about last year was an off year for him. We know that when somebody says, do you think he'll get 1,000 yards? Well, if last year was an off year and he had 979 and he gets 17 games this year if he's healthy, yeah, he's going to get 1,000 yards, probably another 300 to 500 in receptions out of the backfield. I'd look for Zeke to have north of 1,500 all-purpose yards, but he looks different. When we were out there for the week, and granted, we only saw pads in, one day with Dak, which we'll get to in a moment on his health. But Zeke looks different this year. What are you noticing different about Ezekiel Elliott?
He's a lot lighter, which I think is good for him. I think he's at 215, 212, something like that. That was his weight when he first got into the league. And that's a positive thing. I think he realized that the 2020 season was just a horrendous year in terms of his health, because, he had COVID over the summer, then he had a calf injury, and his hamstring got a little bit tight. So physically, he just wasn't where he needed to be. And then, the offensive line wasn't what it was, but he still almost had 1,000 yards. So I think coming into this year, he said, you know what, I got to get my mind and my body right. And he's done that. And he is looking a lot faster. He is moving around really well. He's always been a good training camp player. He's never been a sluggish type of guy. I think in years past he was just thicker, and because they said, oh, he's got to withstand the pounding of a season, which is what happens to running backs, especially a guy like Zeke who's going to get the ball 15, 20 times a game. And now this year he's like, you know what? I don't need to be thicker. I need to be slimmer, and I can still withstand the pressures and the pounding of being a running back that gets 15 or 20 touches a game, but I just need to be lighter on my feet to avoid some of these hits. I'm still going to lay a hit on people. He did that in a practice. He hit Marcus Kennedy the first day in pads. He gave him a little love tap and let him know that I'm out here. So, but I think Zeke's in a good frame of mind from a mental standpoint and a physical standpoint.
Yeah, definitely. Calvin Watkins from the Dallas Morning News with us here on the Blitz on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. You just brought him up. Maurice Kennedy. There's a guy that flashed. That guy's going to end up making this team, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I think he was pushing Jordan Lewis for starting third corner for a minute there, because Lewis was nicked up with a little hammy and he wasn't really playing or practicing rather than that. And then Kennedy kind of showed us something. And even McCarthy said he didn't realize Kennedy's got these ball skills. And you kind of forget Kennedy missed all last year because he opted out because of COVID. And he's played in Baltimore. He's been around a little bit. So he's a veteran guy. He knows his way around the football field. So, yeah, I definitely think he'll make the team. Now, they have a lot of other issues, with that roster. But I think Kennedy's got a spot.
I agree. And again, I got to say, I didn't really know who I was. We're out there watching practice. Who's 31? Who's 31? Who's 30? And you're right. With the opt-out last year, you forgot about him. And certainly not on my thought of who's going to be in that secondary, but he was making plays the week we were in Oxnard. Saw him with an interception against Stafford and the Rams. As the breaking news, Luke has officially signed his deal with the Dallas Mavericks. And, yeah, he's going to make the team, but whose job is he going to take? Is there a player that you thought for sure was going to make this team that after you've watched training camp, you think he might be in jeopardy of not?
Not really. Outside I thought Kennedy had a shot to make the team. But that might remember Reggie Robinson, who they drafted last year? They had moved him to safety, and he wasn't comfortable. And now this year they're putting him at corner. He might be the odd man looking in these kind of situations because of Kennedy, and you got to figure out who's going to make the roster. Francis Bernard is another guy, linebacker. He missed some time with a minor injury. Missed maybe about 4 practices because of a minor injury. And he might get lost in the shuffle a little bit. So he might not make the roster. Jabril Cox, who they drafted this year, I think he'll be on the roster, but he hasn't made any plays. So I'm wondering about him, and not so much – I think he'll be on the 53, but I wonder – how much playing time is he really going to get? You know, he's going to have to do some things on special teams. So he's a guy who maybe you might not see a lot of in 2021. I don't know. I don't think you'll cut him and try to bring him back on the practice squad because someone's going to scoop him up. But, you know, he's got to pick it up a little bit or you're not going to see a lot of him in his rookie year. So but I don't see anybody really losing a job that I thought I would have said, oh, he's here. You know, people love to pick on Tristan Hill, who was a second-round pick a couple of years ago. But if you really watch him play, Tristan Hill was playing pretty good before he tore his ACL last year.
Yeah.
And you were out there at camp, and you saw Tristan. He was running around with DeMarcus Lawrence. He looks fit. He looks a lot slimmer than when he has in the past. So Tristan Hill will be on this football team, especially now because they had two linemen to get hurt in that scrimmage. Neville Gallimore sprained an ankle in that scrimmage the other day against the Rams. So, but for the most part, I don't see too many surprises, really. You know, Terrence Steele, a lot of people criticized last year, but I think the coaches really like what they've seen from him this year. So there's a chance that he can make the roster again with Ty Nishke. Those are the two tackles you can have. So there's a lot of decisions they got to make, but they got 3 more preseason games to kind of work it through it.
Yeah, a couple of things. Not often you hear a 300-pounder like Hill get described as slim, but and I look at I look at those two offensive linemen. The you know, Ty Nsekhe, who used to play arena football down here in San Antonio for the Talons. Boy, I got some stories about Ty, but you know, he didn't play well at all against the Steelers. And Terrence Steele, who played his high school ball down here, everybody was raving about him while we were out in Oxnard, but he didn't have a good showing. I mean, I'm very concerned about the depth on that offensive line.
I'm not really concerned about it because, you know, they got the 2 main guys back in Tyron Smith and Lyle Collins and what's your boy, Zach Martin. He's back. The starting 5 is good. Connor McGovern has really stepped up his game. And that has enabled the Cowboys to say, okay, let's see if Connor Williams can play center a little bit. And Tyler Biadasz and Connor Williams are kind of battling for the center spot. So they created some competition there. Steele has been okay. Ty's been okay. You know, Josh Ball got hurt. He was the guy they drafted this year, so we haven't seen much of him. A lot of people say we want depth in the offensive line. Well, you can only have so many guys, you know. So, you know, you can't
True,
have
Calvin. But my concern, though, is can I count on Tyron Smith for 17 games? And the answer is no. I mean, I would even go a little NBA and load manage him in September, maybe the first part of October, so that he's there in December. But when I saw what I saw against the Steelers in the Hall of Fame game, yikes, especially with Ty Nsekhe, knowing what he was brought in to do, knowing what he did when he was with Washington and with the Buffalo Bills. That was a poor performance for him.
Yeah, you know, they hyped Ty as someone who could come right in and challenge Terrence Steele. But as you said, he has struggled a little bit. I have noticed Terrence Steele more than I have Ty. But I don't think the coaches are too concerned at this stage. Let's see what happens in Arizona, and then maybe we can revisit this issue again. Because they got 4 of them. So you don't cut anybody after 1 preseason game. You wait to the 4th one, then you make your evaluation. So let's see what happens. Same with Jabril Cox. I haven't seen him make any plays, so let's see what happens in Arizona.
Very true. Calvin Watkins with us here on the Blitz. Now, you know, let's talk about Dak. And, you know, when they shut him down because of the sore arm, I wasn't concerned. They told me not to be concerned. When we had Dak on the Blitz, when we were out there, he said he was fine. There was no – and then that one week in there where they had the one practice – day off, practice, travel day, I wasn't concerned that he didn't throw. But when Troy Aikman brought up during the Hall of Fame broadcast that he's concerned, and then he didn't play against the Rams, now I'm starting to get concerned. How concerned should we be about Dak Prescott?
Well, let's go over some facts, okay? When Dak first got hurt, they said it's a 2-week injury. He needs 2 weeks off. So, he wasn't going to play in the preseason game anyway, so it didn't really make sense for him to go. He wasn't going to play. He wasn't going to participate in the scrimmage, okay? So, because you know that's within the 2 weeks. So, he might throw probably Tuesday or Wednesday. He did some light throwing Saturday in the scrimmage, just very light. This is not a major injury. If you remember, Dak played with a sore AC joint toward the end of the 2019 season, and he played through it. And Troy Aikman, I think, has had an AC joint as well. Not a big deal. DeMarcus Lawrence didn't make the trip to Canton. No one is calling the governor asking to find what's going on with him. So let's just calm down and relax. And I love Troy, and he's great. But let's cut down on some of this stuff. It's a 2-week injury. It needs rest and treatment. That's all it is. Now, if you want to be concerned about anything, you need to figure out, well, why did this happen? And there were some issues with how they practiced. They were throwing Hail Marys in the early part of training camp. I think you were even out there when they were throwing the Hail Marys, I believe. And there were some people in the front office that were a little upset behind that because they're like, what are we doing here? It's so early in camp. Let's build his arm strength up. Let's probably put him on a pitch count in the early part of camp. I've noticed that Aaron Rodgers was on the pitch count when he first got to camp in Green Bay. So maybe the Cowboys should have done that with Dak in the early part of camp. They have 20 quarterbacks. I mean, goodness gracious. So they have 4 quarterbacks to be official in camp. So, Dak doesn't have to take all the reps, So some of this is on the coaches and the load management team and whatever. So that's why his arm is sore. But I don't think it's a long-term issue at all at this stage because he wasn't going to participate in the scrimmage, as I said. Whether he came to Canton or not is insignificant. Who cares? He didn't go to Canton. Okay. He wasn't going to play, so why not stay? He can't win. If he comes to Canton, people will complain, well, he should be at home getting treatment.
True.
He's at home getting treatment, and people are still complaining he's not in Canton. I mean, so he can't win in either situation. So, as I said, it's a 2-week injury. This is the week where he should be throwing in some fashion at some point this week. Now, if he doesn't throw it all this week, going into the Arizona game, okay, maybe I'm a little concerned. But let's hold off. The season doesn't start tomorrow.
Although if he doesn't throw, knowing with Cooper banged up a little bit, Cooper Rush got hurt against the Steelers. He's not going to play against Arizona. Dak Prescott isn't. Ben DiNucci clearly needs all the potential work, and his career might be over at the end of the month anyway. Then you look at Garrett Gilbert.
I think they're hiring at Amazon. I think
Amazon, Costco. He'll be doing something besides quarterbacking. I wouldn't be surprised at this point if they shut Dak down until they got back to Dallas, and I don't think I would have a problem with that. If he's not throwing that first practice back at the Star, then I think you're going to have alarms going off everywhere.
I think he's going to play. He's obviously not going to do anything for Arizona, right? Then we got Houston and Jacksonville, and I believe the Houston game is a dress rehearsal. So I would expect Dak to play a series or 2 against Houston. If that does not occur, and he doesn't play at Jacksonville, and he is throwing in practice and all that kind of stuff, and he's in team drills, then I'm good. But if he's not even doing that, then I have concerns. So we still got a ways to go in this thing before it's time to call the governor and National Guard and all that other stuff for help. But for right now, let's just pump the brakes and let's just get back home from the Arizona game and then see where we're at.
Absolutely. And I know you're probably ready to get back home as well after being in Oxnard this entire time. Always appreciate the time, Calvin. Good seeing you when we were out there in Oxnard. We'll catch up again soon, man. Appreciate the insight.
I hope so. Let's just talk after Arizona and let's see where we are. Then maybe I'll start panicking. Usually I'm the one that's panicking and you're the calm one.
Yeah, it's just because I know Dak wouldn't lie to me, and he said on the show that he was fine and that he wanted to play against the Rams because it was some live reps, and he told me he wanted to get into some preseason games and get those live reps before the Buccaneers, which I think is 1 month from today, and we haven't seen that yet. And I just know that Dak wouldn't lie to me face to face. So but now that I'm seeing this, I'm starting, and I know Troy was up on that perch with Jerry on that one practice, and then the next couple days later, he's on TV going, "Yeah, I'm concerned." Yeah, what did Jerry tell you?
I hear you. I understand your thought process. I feel you.
And again, we all saw Ben DiNucci play in a game last year, And we can't have that. So whatever we need to do to make sure Dak is ready to go. Well, let me ask before I let you go. I know I already said goodbye once, but is the Cowboys' backup quarterback on the roster as we sit right now? In other words, do you believe in Garrett Gilbert, or are you of the belief that if Dak gets hurt, it doesn't matter?
Well, they have no choice. It is going to be Garrett Gilbert. I don't like Garrett Gilbert, but I did like what I saw in the preseason game against the Steelers. I wish he would have finished some drives. I think he held the ball too long. When they got in the red zone, they got sacked. He overthrew, I think it was Cedric Wilson on the other throw, third down. But for the most part, I thought he did some good things. So to answer your question, yeah, they have the backup on the roster. It's not who I would like for them to have, but it is what it is. But they just got to make sure if Dak gets hurt, they got big problems. So, and you saw that last year, and they had Andy Dalton, and then Dalton went out, then you saw it really went downhill. So, here's another reason why you don't rush Dak Prescott back, because your backup quarterback is basically, he's not even on his same level. So you need your quarterback to be as healthy as possible. So, yeah, sure, they got the great Garrett Gilbert as your number 2. I'm excited for him, but hopefully he won't start an NFL game for him. If he does, he got big problems.
Absolutely. Follow Calvin on Twitter at Calvin Watkins. Great Cowboys insight, and he's in Oxnard for a couple more days. Then he finally gets to go home after the preseason game Friday against the Cardinals. Calvin, we'll catch up soon, my friend.
All right, brother. Take care.
Appreciate it. Calvin Watkins from the Dallas Morning News joining us here on the Blitz on San Antonio Sports Star. And again, it really does hinge on Dak Prescott and his health. ESPN has their FPI stuff that got released today where, their football power index and all the simulations. In fact, the NFC East is the Cowboys division to lose, according to ESPN's FBI. And going with a healthy Dak Prescott and an offensive line that's at full strength and healthy, the Cowboys are favored to win the NFC East at 45%. Washington, who won it last year, upgraded at quarterback with Ryan Fitzpatrick. They're at 29% to come in second. The Giants at 15%, the Eagles 11% chance of winning the NFC East. Although the FBI, according to ESPN, doesn't think much of the division. It's the only division that recorded a simulation with a 5-win champion. They run 20,000 simulations. The Eagles took the crown at 5-11-1 in one of those simulations. Isn't that hilarious? I mean, you laugh all you want, James Pledger. The Houston Texans, your Houston Texans.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Now the FBI did predict Jacksonville would get the number 1 pick in a Trevor Lawrence. The idea of who gets the number 1 pick, number 1 at 24%, your Houston Texans.
Woo!
That's what they've got. FBI considers Houston more than a touchdown worse than an average NFL team on a neutral field, and believes the Texans simultaneously have the worst offense and the worst defense in the league, under the assumption that Deshaun Watson will not play for the Texans this season.
Absolutely.
There you go. There you go. The computer hates your offense, and the computer hates your defense.
Good.
It's hard to suck on both sides of the ball. It really is.
It's not if you've been watching Texans football.
Well, I haven't. So when you look at, when you look at the Houston Texans, what they were just a couple of years ago to what they are now, and I know they changed their management, most of them, but it really is crazy to think just how piss poor this team has been managed. Somewhere, Bob McNair is rolling over. And I don't know that I want to put it all on Cal, although it is under his watch. Jack Easterby, some of the bonehead moves that Bill O'Brien was able to make, although, hey, they won the AFC South. What are you going to do? You've got Deshaun Watson. You had DeAndre Hopkins. You had all of this. And now you have considered one of the worst offense and the worst defense in the NFL. Apparently, they don't pay attention to special teams. Do you have a good punter on Houston?
No.
Oh, good.
Just for contrast on how quickly the bottom has fallen out of this, 18 months ago, they were up 24-0 on the Chiefs in the AFC divisional round of the playoffs.
You know, I hate to say it this way, but it's very similar to saying that the Spurs were up 25 on Golden State in game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, and then Zsa stuck his foot out. Who's your Zsa?
Bill O'Brien.
I mean, but he had him up 20. He had him up on the Chiefs. I mean, it is insane when you think about it that way. And yes, there's stories about Deshaun Watson, and I just don't even know what to believe when it comes to Deshaun anymore. You know, there was, late last week, remember all the talks that a deal was getting close with the Eagles. That quickly died.
Mm-hmm.
And I never believed that anyway, because why would a team give up the assets needed for Deshaun Watson, not knowing if he's going to jail, not knowing if he's going to be suspended by the commissioner, not knowing when that other shoe is going to drop from the commissioner, let alone the legal system? Well, then you hear reports about the Texans won't call anybody back or take their calls. Well, why would they? If they're only getting lowball offers because nobody's going to give fair market value, why would you even entertain that? No, by the way, dude has a no trade clause. So they probably, Caserio is probably sitting there with a list of 2 or 3 teams on his desk. Those teams know that Deshaun wants to go there. And what? That team's not going to give fair value. They're going to try to lowball the Texans. It's a bad situation. Then you run him out in practice today, and you realize that he is the best quarterback out there in practice. Not that you needed to see proof. Alfred Villarreal on our YouTube Live says, I want them to suck. He's a Houston Texans fan, and he wants them to tank this year to get that number 1 pick.
Something the Spurs should have done.
If they could have gotten the number 1 pick. There's no guarantees when it comes to the lottery. Yeah, now top 4 pick is nothing to sneeze at.
Exactly.
But at the same time, this team is constructed. Is there a Trevor Lawrence available next year? Like, who is the consensus number 1?
There's not a consensus, but most things point to Spencer Rattler taking the step this year and being the number 1 overall pick next year.
It's
hard to argue with what Lincoln Riley's done with quarterbacks. He got Jalen Hurts taken in the 2nd round.
That's true. And I think about when I saw Spencer and met him when he played in the All-American Bowl. And again, is he number? When I think about Trevor, and then I think about Spencer.
There's not a Trevor.
And I know there's not a Trevor, and that's going to be so unfair to the Spencer, whoever's there. Is there a Joe Burrow out there who's going to kind of come out of nowhere and end up being that guy? Is there, even Baker Mayfield? There was so much debate on whether or not he should have been taken number 1 overall. And then you see what Josh Allen, from Wyoming, and the contract that he just signed. I look at
Kyler.
Kyler is another example. Although, it's because the coach. They hired a coach to go get the quarterback that was going to fit their system. It's such an interesting debate because you have to suck at the right time when a Tim Duncan is going to be available to you.
The Colts are great at that. The Texans are not.
Well, that's it. If of all the years, it stays within the AFC South. Trevor Lawrence, by the time he ends up pretty good in this league, I don't know that it's going to matter for the Houston Texans. I really don't. And you drafted a Stanford quarterback. He's going to be your guy for 10 years. Just watch. What's his name? Davis?
Davis Mills, and he's not been doing so well.
So he'll fit right in. He's going to be the starter to ensure he plays well enough to get his replacement.
Exactly.
Ultimately, you feel so bad for a guy like Tyrod Taylor. Last year it was, the doctor missed on the needle, and well, let's start the kid anyway. All right, Justin, you're in. You're never giving the job up. Now it's, we really need to suck. You're playing too well. Sit down. Let's put Davis in. Let's go with that. It's going to be an interesting time for the Houston Texans. Always love watching a good train wreck. All right. Interesting topic coming out of UTSA. Come and take it. Is that a racist saying? Are you offended by come and take it? The flags that you've seen at UTSA games? The moniker that UTSA uses as their fourth quarter rally cry? A phrase that is featured prominently on their new athletic facility? A petition has been started by some UTSA faculty saying that it's offensive, it's racist, and UTSA not only needs to apologize for using it, but they need to stop using it immediately. What do you guys think? We'll talk about it as we continue here on the Blitz. You can dial us up on the Kia Bossa Bacon phone lines, 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. On Twitter, I am at Jason Minix. Tweet at Pledge. He is at I Am Pledger. San Antonio has some of the hardest water in the country. Jason Minix here for Alamo Water Softeners, a great locally owned family-run business by the Townsends. I've had a water softener from Alamo Water Softeners for about 10 years. Wouldn't live without one. You and your family deserve the best water quality. So while most water providers do a pretty good job making sure they exceed EPA guidelines, did you know EPA standards for tap water haven't been updated in almost 20 years? With growing concerns of our aging infrastructure, more and more homeowners want to take their water quality into their own hands. It's what I did. It's what you should do. That's why you need to call Alamo Water Softeners. They'll come out to your house and give you a free water analysis. Some chemicals and contaminants are undetectable. And with Alamo Water Softeners, great local company that provides the best value for the highest quality water treatment. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference. Go to alamowatersofteners.com. That's alamowatersofteners.com.
ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
This confirms it. The wait is over. How about that? The original number 88 being presented for enshrinement in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
That's right, Cowboys fans. Some of the fan favorites of Dallas franchise are finally in the Hall of Fame. After a 33-year wait, Drew Pearson seemed to be one of the highest energy recipients of this weekend's ceremony, while Jimmy Johnson took the time to reflect live with Jerry Jones during his speech.
To go from the worst team in the league 2 years in a row to winning back-to-back Super Bowls and building a heck of a football team. We did it, and let me tell you, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, Jerry.
Those are your Cowboys headlines from over the weekend. For San Antonio Sports Star, I'm Carl Schoening.
More people are driving than ever before. That means a higher risk of you getting into an accident. Call My Collision Center first. Our professionals use original, not aftermarket generic parts at no extra cost to you. Aftermarket parts will bring your vehicle's value down. Your safety and satisfaction is My Collision Center's top priority. We work for you. We provide a written lifetime warranty and invoice verifying parts are factory original. If you have an accident and you want factory parts at no extra cost to you, choose My Collision Center.
Hi, Tom Bodette for Motel 6, leaving the light on for the three-dimensional soccer fan. Those cardboard cutouts were feeling a little flat. They didn't even yell goal for as long as possible when we finally scored. Well, while the cardboard you is packed away, the real you can head to the next road game. Motel 6 will help you get back into the action with clean, comfortable rooms at a great low rate. I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you.
My name is Steven, and I'm a school teacher. I've always considered myself an active person, but ever since my 20s and 30s, I've noticed my overall health was slowly declining. I was considered obese, and I wasn't happy. I would look at myself in the mirror and think, wow, I'm looking like an old man. I've tried many diets. I even tried running, but I'm not a runner, and developed issues with my knees and feet. No matter what I did, my weight was never in the normal range. All that changed when I met Dr. Torres at the Institute for Functional Health. With his program, I was finally able to lose weight and keep it off. I went from a 40-inch waist to a 34-inch waist. I'm down 30 pounds and even had to buy a brand new wardrobe. Compliments keep coming, and everyone asks, "What are you doing?" I tell them, Dr. Torres changed my life.
Call me for a free consultation at 468-1891. I'm Dr. Torres at the Institute for Functional Health, and I can help. 468-1891.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel teaches you conversations that you will actually use. With 14 languages and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll learn what matters most to you. Babbel. Language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com.
You know what makes every diamond unique and special are its 4 C's: cut, clarity, color, and carat weight. But do you know what makes Diamonds Direct special and unique? It's our own 4 C's. The first C, concept. Diamonds Direct has revolutionized jewelry shopping by eliminating middleman markups and giving you direct access to the world's finest diamonds straight from the diamond cutters. The second C, choice. Diamonds Direct's multi-million-dollar selection of precious diamonds is unparalleled, and with over 4,000 designer settings to choose from, you are empowered to make a decision that works for your style and taste. The third C, confidence. With a nationwide price guarantee, free lifetime warranty, our unique 110% diamond upgrade policy, and our no-pressure, no-risk environment, you have total peace of mind. And the fourth C, community. Every year we partner with local charities and nonprofits with significant donations of time, money, and jewelry to make this a better place for everyone. Diamonds Direct, as unique, special, and rare as every diamond in our showcase. Official jeweler of the Dallas Cowboys at the shops at La Cantera.
Join us this Thursday at Slackers Medical Center to celebrate the launch of San Antonio Sports Star. Our whole crew will be on site battling it out in a special edition of Sports Star Olympics, basketball, beer pong, darts, and you could win cash prizes, Sports Star swag, and John Mayer tickets. It's all going down this Thursday at Slackers Medical Center location starting at 4 with the Blitz, the official San Antonio Sports Star launch party with our friends at Slackers Sports and Arcade Bar. We'll see you out there.
The play is in. The Blitz with Jason Minix and Sports Insiders. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. James Pledger producing as always. You want to be a part of the show? It's easy to do on the Kia Bossa Bacon phone lines. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Come and take it. Does that offend you? Is that racist? I know different people can get offended by different things. And, you know, when you hear from them and you go, okay, all right, I'll listen to that. I didn't know. Yeah, you know, we all need to get educated on certain things. This is one that I look at and go, really? Now, Come and Take It has been part of UTSA's football program since they started in 2011. I remember Come and Take It as various mottos growing up in the state of Texas. This is kind of one of those pride things for 200 years since the Battle of Gonzales. I believe the city of Gonzales has that as their flag for their city. And then UTSA has adopted that as part of their traditions when it comes to football and athletics as a whole. So they moved into the new race building the other day, Roadrunner Athletic Center for Excellence. Yeah, it's interesting when you talk about the building. It's called the race building, and now people are saying this is racist. Now, my first thought when I heard some professors put together a petition to try to get the name removed and get an apology from the university president and athletic director and all that stuff, my first thought was, I just hope this isn't some faculty member that hates all athletics and the amount of money that athletics generates for a university. Although when I read what's on there, I go, okay, there might be something to this. This is going to be a little bit more than just somebody trying to put together a petition. And I respect that. And if I can learn something, I'm all for that. But this, I don't know. I mean, I realize if you have started something as a tradition at your university, and one of the things that Dr. Amy, the president of the university, said in his email today to all the staff and students was our university's not that old, and the football program's basically in its infancy. So if we're going to come up with traditions, let's research them, let's talk about them, let's figure out what we want. Because there are certain things that, we're not deep into this enough to where you're really going to offend something if things get taken away. It's not going to be as divisive as, say, singing the Eyes of Texas at the University of Texas, right? So I'm looking at this, and I see what the email that Dr. Amy put out, which is on the UTSA website that I'm reading from. He says they're going to establish a task force to explore all the questions to shape their traditions for the future. And it's going to have students, faculty, staff, alumni, members of the community, all that kind of stuff. In the interim, the come and take it imagery and the entryway of the new athletic center is going to also include a highly visible sign that describes the origin of the imagery, the intention of the tradition, and the concerns from within the community about its historical context. And I go back to is Rudolph Renee on Facebook Live says, come and take it was appropriated by people who tend to not be inclusive these days. You look at that and you go, okay, knowing that it's been recently associated with a lot of political movements, including what we saw at the Capitol on January 6th. When other groups take your saying or a saying that you use, because it's not really theirs, they've just borrowed it like so many other people. Other groups use it. That doesn't mean it's going to have the same meaning, but it might draw some attention to that way. So I think it's fair on both sides to be educated. I'm curious for UTSA fans, current students, alumni, is it one of those passionate things that is worth fighting for? Because it almost sounds like Dr. Amy has said, we like it, and we just put this nice building together. It's on there. We spent money on that. But if it's going to cause issues, we can get rid of it pretty quick. Is it one of those things that is passionate? For a lack of a better word, it's not like Birds Up, which, that's become a moniker. I know UTSA fights with being called UTSA, not UT San Antonio, right? There's lots of things that a university, especially a young program, have to deal with. But I look at it and I come and take it. I've never found it offensive. That doesn't mean it's not. But I need a lot of education on why it might be. Is it offensive to you now because you saw some other idiots using it in a way that you don't appreciate? Because I'm guessing most of us don't like what we saw them using it. But that shouldn't take away from that should not take away from what the university is trying to do. When I think about the T-shirts, the imagery, everybody that's associated with it, educate me if you want, but I think this is ridiculous. And I appreciate the way Dr. Amy handled this quickly by saying, all right, I see you. You put together your petition. We'll put a sign up. Gives a little bit of your point of view, but we're not taking anything down. As we sit right now on the 9th day of August, I'm sure as hell not apologizing. But let's put together a task force. Let's put together a study group and come up with something. If you're UTSA and you've used come and take it all these years, and nobody has said a word until you see it on a new building that I believe is north of $40 million. And I go back to my original thought, is this some academic type that just hates all athletics? Anybody that's been around athletics, college athletics, knows that there's them types on a university, on every university. There are some that are very pro athletics and football, and others that are against it. They want that money coming their way. Their department doesn't get the financial donations that the athletic department gets. And there's envy there. Was there some other building or lab or something that somebody's been trying to get built and they didn't get it built, and all of a sudden there's a new athletics facility and they're mad? I mean, and that was my original thought. Now, when I read it, now granted, a professor put this together. It reads well. It makes you think. And I don't mind that. Make me think. But at the same time, I look at this and I think, over the weekend when I saw that floating on Twitter, I was like, all right, here's this. And I appreciate that Dr. Amy addressed it immediately by saying, we're putting together a task force when school starts in a couple weeks, and we'll get back to you. In the meantime, we'll go down to Kinko's, make a sign, and put it up right next to it, because I'm sure everybody's going to go read that sign. I can't tell you how many selfies I saw on social media the other day in front of the come and take it sign when they opened up that new facility. I wonder how many people actually find it offensive. I think about, there's a bar downtown. I believe it's called the Local Bar. It's on that bar window. I believe Pinkerton's Barbecue. It doesn't say come and take it. I think it says come and eat it. But it's basically an offshoot of that saying. We see that everywhere. When this Washington needs to find a new football team name, Cleveland has changed the name of their baseball team. Studying the eyes of Texas, I think, was a legitimate, because I didn't know about the history of it. Most of us didn't, right? I don't mind getting educated. This, we'll see what this task force decides in the coming weeks. Wonder how many people are actually going to come up with to see what the progress is on this task force. But I am curious if you guys find it offensive. I really am. On Twitter, at TXFlyOnTheWall says, come and take it is the city of Gonzalez's flag. A history teacher started this. I'd ask for a refund from his class. I'm not sure if it was a history teacher or not, but that's interesting. D. Landry 73 says, so because Texas rebels dared Mexican soldiers to come take a cannon in Gonzales 186 years ago, that's racist? Again, do I find it that way? No. That doesn't mean we all can't get educated. See, I'm trying to be politically correct with this.
But
try.
Does
no,
someone appropriating a phrase in modern day count against the history of what something meant?
Again, I think when I think about some of the political stuff that we have seen recently and that phrase get associated with those groups, now it's offensive because you see that phrase and you associate it with those groups, not the origins of the history. Come and take it. It's been a Texas pride thing for years and years, and I appreciated when UTSA adopted it. And I know there's a whole bunch of us that are just tired of, well, I find this offensive. I find that offensive. Going to be interesting. But I do like that Dr. Amy took, quickly put an email out saying, we'll look into it. We'll put a group together. We'll study it. We'll see it. In the meantime, do they sell come and take it shirts in the bookstore?
I think so.
Pretty sure I've seen those shirts in a lot of places.
A lot of games, a lot of places.
Absolutely. Interesting stuff. What's up with Deshaun Watson? I'm offended that he's practicing because I know he's not going to play. If I'm a Houston Texans fan, I'm offended that they would tease us by putting him out there on a practice field and let him throw passes only to watch the next pass get thrown by some guy named Davis who was off target against air. That is offensive. We'll talk about it as we continue here on the Blitz on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. If you're going to fire up the grill, you want the best sausage on that grill. You know, Kielbasa smoked sausage is what you've been looking for. You see, at Kielbasa, they make their legendary smoked sausage in small 150-pound batches with only fresh, high-quality ingredients, never frozen meat. They don't add fillers or chemicals that you can't pronounce. Then it is smoked over real hardwood, just the way it was done in 1949 when Kielbasa was started right here in San Antonio. And while they're now a national brand, everything they make is still made here in town. But they're popular all over the country, but they take care of San Antonio. In fact, this year alone, Kielbasa has donated more than 2 tons of sausage to the San Antonio Food Bank. And they're donating premium sausage with a special label designed to provide encouragement to people who are experiencing hard times. They call this program their Links of Love program. So they're helping out local food banks, working with those that are involved in disasters for disaster relief. Links of Love is a great program. So, when you go and you buy Kielbasa sausage, you can feel great about not only are you getting some of the best sausage available at a grocery store, but you're helping support San Antonio and the local community through their Links of Love program. So you're going to fire up the grill. Make sure you go get some Kielbasa today.
Bet you can tell me when the last Spurs championship was. But can you name your congressman? Sports or politics? The answer is obvious. This is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Don't let a slick Willie or some Johnny-come-lately throw you a fast one. Go with a trusted pro you can count on. Your independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer is trained to be the best. Quality service before and after installation. American Standard Air.
Go with the pros at Aramindia, the same company South Texans have trusted for over 30 years. American Standard. Comfort the way you like it. Comfort you can afford.
ARAMENDIA, Aramindia.
License number TACLA 447668.
Running a business comes with pressure. Remote workforces, HR compliance, retaining top talent. You start to feel boxed in. Fortunately, there's Insperity. They put 30 plus years of HR service and technology to work, offering my employees competitive benefit options while lightening my HR load. Instead of obstacles, I'm surrounded by people empowered to be their best. With Insperity, nothing seems impossible. Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
Stop living with that awful joint pain, and don't let them tell you that surgery is your only option. Hey, it's James Pledger for San Antonio Sports Star here, excited to tell you about QC Kinetics right here in Hollywood Park and Westover Hills. QC Kinetics is the leader in biologic therapies, regenerative solutions that can repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. Knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, pain in your hips. Patients here are raving about getting lasting results from QC Kinetics. Call now to learn more at 210-571-0318. If you have chronic joint pain, don't assume the old treatments are the only treatments. Learn more about new biologic therapy options now available here. Restorative, regenerative joint treatments for joint pain. Finally, call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics at 210-571-0318. 210-571-0318. Get your life back without pain. 210-571-0318.
Hi, welcome to Smoky Moe's.
At Smoky Moe's Barbecue, we smoke our meats fresh, in-house, each and every day. We think it makes all the difference in the quality of our moist, flavorful brisket and turkey, and the mouth-watering tenderness of our ribs and pork loin. Got a crowd? We've got group packs and full-service catering. Up early? We've got made-to-order breakfast tacos. Find your store at SmokyMoe'sBarbecue.com and come see us for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Smoky Moe's Barbecue. The pit is lit.
You can talk keto all you want, but if you don't have a team of great tasting snacks behind you, you're not going to win the diet marathon. Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds have these big, bold flavors that kick your taste buds into high gear. Korean kimchi barbecue, pasilla chili cheese, spicy dill, and more. Eat them right out of the bag or try them in your favorite recipes. You'll love this snack. Visit your local H-E-B and SouthernRecipeSmallBatch.com to see the power of the rinds.
Southern Recipe pork rinds.
The Dallas Cowboys travel to the desert to take on the Arizona Cardinals in preseason action.
Let's go!
Friday night. Coverage starts at 8 on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Don't mind the brake lights. We'll get you there. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
You can win $500 for you and $500 for your school or charity of your choice. It's San Antonio Sports Star Back to School Cash Contest. You can register for that cash online at sasportstar.com. It is the Blitz. I'm Jason Minix. Glad to have you along on a Monday afternoon. If you did any grilling this weekend while you're registering for that cash at sasportstar.com, you took a photo of what was on your grill. Like I had some beef ribs yesterday. Oh, they were so good. You can
Yeah,
win a
they
$50 gift card to Tri-County Meat Market. So make sure you upload that photo there. Lots to do there at sasportstar.com. Those ribs are fantastic. Those are probably the best ribs I've done.
Those are really good. I don't know if they're the best you've ever done, but I haven't had all the ribs you've ever done. But if you say so, I could believe it.
I did it a little bit different this time. Grant Pinkerton gave me a tip, and I utilized that tip. And I did this before, and I've done it now with brisket and these beef ribs. But yeah, these ones yesterday.
Is it about the part where you talked about wrapping it?
No.
Okay.
Although it's secret. It's secret stuff. It's
I saw you put something on Instagram about wrapping it before putting them back on.
I did. Okay. So with beef ribs, some people wrap them, some people don't. I follow a Matt Pittman recipe that says wrap. After they get around 165, 168, wrap them to finish them off. Also, instead of going to 203, 205, I took them to 210, which is something that Pinkerton has told me. But it's something that after you pull them off that you do to them that takes it next level, which is fantastic. Alfred Villarreal on our YouTube says, I wonder if that huge come and take it banner will be unfurled at the first UTSA game this year. I'm going to guess the answer is yes, because the task force won't have come to any conclusions by that first home football game. So by all accounts, maybe what they'll do is they'll tape something on there, or maybe what they could say is, if you're offended by this, turn away. If I don't know. I find it ridiculous. A friend of mine, John, he sent me a text that says, this is ridiculous that this is offensive. People have tweeted us photos of the Gonzalez flag and I guess logo with that saying on there. I mean, of all things to say you're offended by. And again, I'm willing to be educated, but I think this is ridiculous. Now, when I read that it was a very well put together proposal by whoever did it, I think you're way off base, but I do appreciate the efforts that you put into. I would like to learn a little bit more about why and see if you've ever actually been to UTSA game, to see what you've tried to get done for your department there on campus and haven't been given the money for, and see if there's some jealousy involved. It just feels like, outside of just seeing come and take it associated with some recent political movements and what we saw in the Capitol, that would be the only thing. If you don't know the history of it and you think that is associated with this and UTSA football, then you're the one that needs to get educated. Or if there are a whole bunch of people offended by it that have never said anything before, and I do, I'm game for that. But I do think they will unfurl that, and they will sell a whole bunch of shirts over the next couple of weeks with that on it in support. Pledge, typical. We plan on talking about the Texans, and we talk about something else.
I'm shocked. Although it was taking a dig at the Texans, so I actually am a little shocked.
I'm not taking a dig at the Texans. I'm not. I don't understand why you would let him practice at quarterback, knowing damn well he is not going to play quarterback for you. Why give him reps as opposed to Davis Mills? What's his name? Mills?
Yep.
Why not give him more reps? By all accounts, he needs all the reps he can get. By all accounts, he would lose out right now to Ben DiNucci. But we're going to give Deshaun Watson reps?
Go that far.
Is that offensive?
That is offensive.
Sorry, I apologize.
You come and take that back.
Mm-hmm. Spurs, that ain't happening. Spurs making some news as well. DeMar DeRozan officially, well, we'll get into what the Spurs officially did today. It's housekeeping stuff. It's accounting stuff. But we'll get into it as we continue here on the Blitz. In San Antonio, we have some of the hardest water in the country. Let me tell you about Alamo Water Softeners. They're a great local company, a family-run business by the Townsends. And I've known the Townsends for a long time. When it was started by Alan Townsend many years ago, Trevor's running it now. I've had a water softener from Alamo Water Softeners in my home for about a decade. Worked works fantastic. Love having it. Wouldn't live without one now. And you think about you and the water quality where you are. If you're living without a water softener in your home, you need to change that. You and your family deserve the best water quality. And most water providers do a pretty good job making sure they exceed EPA guidelines. But did you know EPA standards for tap water, well, they haven't been updated in almost 20 years. Growing concerns about an aging infrastructure means more and more homeowners are taking their water quality into their own hands. That's why you need to call Alamo Water Softeners. They'll come out to your house and give you a free water analysis. They'll test your water for free, and that's important because some chemicals and contaminants are undetectable, and they're a great company to work with. They were voted a 2020 neighborhood favorite on the Nextdoor app. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference. Go to alamowatersofteners.com. That's alamowatersofteners.com.
It's football, and not the Europe kind. You know, the one where they use their feet in conjunction with the ball.
Prescott will give it a Zeke, starts up the middle, bounces left.
But they also use their feet, but they use their hands as well.
30, 20, and 10, and touchdown.
What am I talking about? Oh, yeah, the American kind. Dallas Cowboys football on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Injuries happen, so if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries and has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. There is no reason to be in pain. If you are hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Learn more at TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com, or schedule your appointment by calling 210-804-5490.
Today on Hey Culligan, soft water, cleaner environment. What do you say, Greg?
Hey Culligan, are you saying if I have a Culligan high-efficiency water softener, I'm also helping the environment?
It sounds like you're saying it, Greg, and yes, you are, because with the Culligan high-efficiency water softener, you'll use less detergent, soap, and harsh chemicals, and that's good for the planet.
Now you're saying it.
You bet I am, Greg. Soft water and a cleaner environment is already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test from a local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents
and Doug. And we're back with Limu, Emu, and Doug for the final question. Category is things you climb.
All right, Limu, what do you think? You sure? We're going with Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Oh, so close. We were looking for stairs.
Huh. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
When Paul Goodall started shopping for an engagement ring, he knew one thing. He didn't want to be pressured.
Because I'm not going to make a purchase at that level without understanding what I'm buying.
But the first store he went to, that's what happened.
They wanted me to buy. They didn't want me to learn. And that didn't work for me.
But then Paul found Diamonds Direct.
The exact opposite happened when I went into Diamonds Direct. There was no rush. There was no pressure. They wanted to give me the information that I was asking for.
At Diamonds Direct, it's different. No games, no pressure, no nonsense.
It wasn't like, well, let's do something now. We got to do it now because we got this thing going on, or maybe you want to do that. No, it was here's the information that you need to make an educated decision.
Paul learned how to buy a diamond like a dealer buys. He was taught how diamonds are graded and priced on the world market, and he was shown dozens of diamonds in his price range so he could make the decision that was right for him, his budget, and his soon-to-be fiancé.
What they do is they give you the information that you need so that you end up buying what you want. I am such a big fan of Diamonds Direct.
Diamonds Direct, official jeweler of the Dallas Cowboys. To shops at La Cantera.
One team, one mission. KZDC, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Jason Minix, The Blitz.
It is The Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. James Pledger producing as always. Woj is on my TV right now talking about Luka's new deal. 5 years, $207 million Supermax extension with the Mavericks. Did I read that Mark Cuban got on his private plane and went all the way to Slovenia to make sure he signed the deal? That's pretty cool. Or do you really think Mark Cuban just wanted to go to Europe?
I mean, I'm sure he could have gone to Europe whenever he wanted.
Well,
Is Slovenia a destination place?
I don't know. I mean, I mean, if you're over there,
I think it's more about the respect of, this might be one of the best players in the NBA. I'm just going to make sure this gets done face to face.
Doesn't trust the new GM, huh?
Would you? Would you trust a new guy on the job?
Well, yeah, man, he got the deal done. I mean, not that there was much risk of not getting it done. I do appreciate the personal touch. In all sincerity, it is pretty cool. But man, that's a long way to go to get a signature you know you're going to get.
Sure, but I mean, think about the Spurs. They usually try to put a home touch on everything they do. As a matter of fact, it's what kept Tim Duncan from going to Orlando.
It's a bit of a stretch, but I mean, it's like Pop going down and swimming with Tim in the Virgin Islands before they drafted him. I mean, you went to the Virgin Islands. I mean, that's not bad. I mean, hey kids, school doesn't start for a couple weeks. Let's get on the plane, go over there. We're going to do a little business, and then we're going to Euro Disney or wherever they might be going. I'm pretty sure there's some wonderful parts of Slovenia. I've never been, quite honestly, but I'm sure it's nice. And you're closer to a lot of other great places that you could go to. I think it's very cool of them. Now, the Spurs, they did some things today, Pledge, with DeMar DeRozan, which is, by all accounts, accountability, or accounting, not accountability, but accounting gymnastics to make sure all the NBA stuff falls in line the way it needs to fall in line, because you're going to hear how they denounced his rights. Well, they did. And then they re-signed him, and then they traded him. And that's just to make all the money work in favor of everybody.
Yeah, I'm guessing because by renouncing his rights, they give up the $39 million cap hold that he had on the Spurs, and he signed for less than that. So I'm wondering if they get some kind of salary cap extra space that they wouldn't have normally gotten.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, they got to make it all work. But I mean, it's housekeeping things at this point that they were taking care of. When you look at what they were doing, I mean, it's not like any deals are falling through. It's not like the NBA isn't investigating the Spurs for tampering, which is the stupidest thing. Might be actually more stupid than let's get rid of come and take it at UTSA footballs. That they are saying. What are they investigating? 2 teams now for tampering?
Yeah, the Heat and the Raptors for the Kyle Lowry sign and trade. And I think there was one other trade they were looking at.
I think there's 2. And the penalty for tampering is like $50,000 and a second-round pick. So there is no penalty. I don't even know why.
Wow. The Spurs have just acquired all these second-round picks, and you're just bleeping all over them.
A $50,000 fine to the NBA, to an NBA franchise for tampering. When you're talking about signing $207 million contracts, $50,000 and a second-round pick for tampering as you put together a mega deal. I mean, when you think about it like that, yeah, it's nothing. I mean, these tampering rules need to go away. Quit telling me you're doing this. Create a legal Oh, they already have what do they call it? Legal tampering period.
Yeah. That was this whole past week. That was Monday to Friday.
T. Duncan on our Facebook Live. Terrence Duncan thinks the Spurs are about to make another trade, acquiring all of those picks for Simmons, Lonnie, and DeJounte to the 76ers. Terrence, we've speculated on that for about a week. The problem is the Spurs have collected a bunch of second-round picks, and Daryl Morey wants 4 first-round picks for Ben Simmons. But when I look at the drafting of Josh Primo, they're not in a win-now mode, which makes me wonder if they would pull the trigger on a Ben Simmons-type trade. But when you think about DeJounte, when I think about Lonnie, if they're able to make a move that could speed up the rebuild process, maybe they're not going to suck and not be a playoff team this year. If they could work on a blockbuster deal, then I do think you've got the possibility of that happening. Now, I do like what I've seen from DeJounte Murray since DeMar DeRozan left. He has taken over the leadership role of this team, at least social media-wise. He's putting that out there. It's his time. Keldon Johnson, the gold medalist, what he is able to do, they're going to build around him. Adding a defensive guy like Ben Simmons, if you're not worried about his offense, would be great. But they want a bunch of first-round picks, not a bunch of second-round picks. So I don't know if it's angling to get DeJounte and Lonnie and a bunch of second-round picks for Ben Simmons. That doesn't seem like that's where Daryl Morey wants to go. I mean, that's like, Daryl Morey has asked for Morton's, and you're offering Outback. Outback is fine, but if you're craving a steak from Morton's, then a bloomin' onion isn't going to cut it. It's not. I mean, so the idea of Ben Simmons, and granted, all of us think about Ben Simmons with an idea of the last time we saw him. And that's unfair to Ben Simmons. He's got to do some image rehab. I would love for the Spurs to try to go out and work a deal to get Ben Simmons. Get that caliber of player. But I don't know that the Spurs have the assets that Daryl Morey is looking for that is going to get Ben Simmons. They're not at the point where they're ready to give him away for a couple of seconds and a DeJounte or a Lonnie. That's not what Daryl Morey is doing. Not at all what he is trying to set up.
Would they have the assets on the roster currently to go after someone who's just recently been made available by Masai Ujiri and Pascal Siakam?
Well, knowing that Siakam has the same agent as Josh Primo, I could certainly see something like that working out, but I also look at what Toronto has done, and where is Toronto right now as far as where they see themselves? What you know what I mean? Do they want a DeJounte? Would they want a Lonnie?
All they have is a Van Vliet right now.
Well, and again, you wonder, are they going to try to blow it up and try to rebuild in the aftermath of losing Lowry, which they didn't think they were going to do? I mean, they've been to the mountaintop. They got a ring. Are they any closer now? No. They're farther away. So do they want to sink all the way to the bottom and try to build up through the draft, which is what the Spurs need to do?
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about the trade possibilities of a Ben Simmons, who, and I agree, Botella Franklin on Facebook Live, Simmons isn't going back to Philly. I agree. He's not going back. But they're not trading him for a couple of second-round picks. They'll keep him before they do that, right? So you look at what I really need the Spurs to do is you've got young players. Let's develop them. Let's see what we got. Get deeper into the lottery. We're good picking north of 10. Can we get a single-digit pick? Let's see what we could do with number 7. If we can't get number 4, can we get 6 or 7? 10 or 12 with some safe picks is what the Spurs have done. With Devin Vassell. I mean, they've only had, 3 lottery picks in their history of the lottery. Tim being one. Who else was a lottery pick? Primo and Devin Vassell.
Mm-hmm.
Those are our 3 lottery picks. It's funny. I was at the bar on Friday night at the Rue Pub watching Team USA win gold. And a guy was talking to me. And, man, he was telling me, we need more lottery picks like Keldon Johnson, man. They hit a home run in the lottery with him. We need to suck again. It's like, dude, he was pick number 29. No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was.
No, he wasn't. And this guy bet me a beer and lost. And he paid up, by the way,
Good.
thinking that Keldon was a lottery pick.
Not a lottery pick.
I mean, I'll take your free beer all day long, man. But when you look at it, he plays like a lottery pick.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to build around him being a lottery pick. He was a great pick where they got him. Crazy that he slipped that far. Devin Vassell certainly is a work in progress. The more I hear about Josh Primo, the more I learn about Josh Primo, the more comfortable I am with the selection of Josh Primo. I did not like it on draft night. After seeing what the Spurs did at the beginning of free agency, and we know what the clear plan is, Josh Primo was a good pickup. It wasn't a safe pick, that's for damn sure. The Spurs gambled on Josh Primo being so young, and he has showed out pretty well there in Salt Lake City. Feel bad for the kid. Playing in Vegas, can't go anywhere because you're 18. I know Jeff McDonald from the Express News tried to make a funny on Twitter when there was a limo company apparently in Salt Lake City called Primo Limo. And he made a joke that he's only played in 2 NBA Summer League games and already has a limo. Well, dude's not old enough to rent a car. I mean, he's got to do something. But I go back, and I don't know if you heard this over the weekend, but after one of the Summer League games, Devin Vassell, the wily vet of this summer group, was asked a question about his game. Again, Devin Vassell was asked about Devin Vassell, and this was his answer.
Forget that. Can we talk about Primo to come out here and play with that much confidence? And, I talked to him and, before the game and at halftime, I'm like, bro, just play confident, play your game. And, I mean, he showed everybody that, he's here and that he's ready. He's young. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to turn the ball over. He's going to mess up. But at the end of the day, he doesn't let that get to him. He keeps coming, making some big shots in the fourth quarter when we needed him to, hitting tough ones. I mean, he hit a freaking dirt fadeaway. He has so much potential. I don't think he even knows or knows how good he is or how good he can be. And I'm really high on him.
That's such an interesting compliment because, again, Devin Vassell was asked about Devin Vassell's game.
Who scored 27 that night, by the way.
Who says, man, I want to talk about Primo. Now, I don't know if there's been some sort of mandate like, hey, protect the front office. We've been taking a lot of arrows since this pick. Prop them up when you can. But watching them play, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good with Primo and the growth there. He's going to be fantastic for the Austin Spurs. And he doesn't necessarily sound like an 18-year-old.
It's always been something that I've worked on. Just working with my father in the gym. We always worked on passing as well as shooting and dribbling. But Canada basketball, we work on that a lot, being able to pass with both hands. And then just moving up on through the ranks, I just continue to work on it. So it's something that starts to come natural to you after that.
And he's got that natural ability. He, by all accounts, is a gym rat, wants to continue to get better and better. The idea that, again, the Spurs didn't draft a need. They didn't fill a need with the Primo pick, and that's why it got blasted. And then I think about knowing how some back-end stuff works. What did his agent do to get him drafted as high as he did? You go back and you think about, and I hate comparisons, and I hate the fact that he was compared very early on to Kobe at that age, because that's just a lot of pressure on a kid. But I remember what Lee Steinberg did to get a quarterback out of Texas Tech drafted in the top 10 when a lot of people thought he might be a second or third rounder, partly because of the history of Texas Tech quarterbacks in the National Football League. And you see what Patrick Mahomes has turned into. Not saying that that's going to happen to Primo, but can he end up being that kind of player? Can he end up being a contributor, a leader, a superstar? You've got time to let him grow and develop, because the Spurs have put together a pretty decent team right now. When I say decent, a decent team that's going to entertain us and go to the lottery. And I'm fine with that. McBuckets arrived in San Antonio. Pretty cool that his Lyft driver happened to be Brent Barry. And you get a guy like Doug McDermott, who said over the weekend he's thrilled to be joining the San Antonio Spurs.
It's like a dream come true, just growing up watching all those teams, win championships, always kind of, model my game after, being a guy in this type of system. So, it's just, it's really a dream come true. This is a gold standard of the league here. So just really excited to be here.
Does he know that Tim Duncan is retired? Does he know that Manu is retired? Does he know that that team that he just talked about isn't what he's joining now? I mean, I appreciate him saying he appreciates what he's going to get from Greg Popovich. He's a coach's kid, of course, high basketball IQ. I thought it was comical that somebody asked him, and I think the Spurs put this together, what does he bring to the game? Dude, the answer is shooting and shooting and shooting and only shooting.
I think I'll bring a ton of shooting,
yeah,
chasing for the young guys. And, you know, I think one of my strengths is being able to move without the ball, and really put pressure on the defense that way. So I think just my overall presence moving around out there can put a lot of pressure on the defense and hopefully give guys some room to create and attack.
And I think it gives Sean Elliott another golf partner, somebody else that can go play, because we do know that McDermott does play a lot of golf. I'm not sure how many golfers are actually on the Spurs roster right now. So at least Sean has a new playing partner when they're on the road. I look at this Spurs team, and it'd be interesting to see what they end up doing in the Vegas Summer League, if they can play better than they did in Salt Lake City. But good Lord, they can't play any worse. But I like the direction that the Spurs are going, because at least we know where they're going. We know they're not in a win now mode. They need to get high in the lottery. They need a single-digit draft pick to build up for the future, to build around Keldon Johnson. So the more I see of Primo, the more I like the pick, knowing that he's not going to get a lot of games this year. I bet you he doesn't play 40 games at the NBA level this year unless there's turned ankles or COVID situations. The plan is to let him groom in Austin, unless, of course, there is another trade involving a DeJounte or a Derek, and they need him. They need him at that position. Carmelo Anthony signing with the Los Angeles Lakers. He's on my TV right now. I can't hear it, but I'm just looking at it. Another one for the old guys. I mean, that team, and I know they get a lot of comparisons to what the Lakers did in 2004 with like Gary Payton and Karl Malone and all those guys that didn't result in a title.
Still
but
a good team.
That Geritol group, man, if they can get to June, they're going to have a chance. This is going to be a fun NBA season. And it sucks that the Spurs aren't going to be competitive.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
No, I mean, I think it's for the best. And here's the thing: the more I see of
fan, tell me more, Rocket fan.
I will tell you, this past season was one of the greatest seasons I've watched, and this one's going to be equally as fun for me. I don't think we're going to be very good, but there's a lot of young pieces that I'm excited to watch, because I know my coaching staff is going to put those guys on the floor and give them minutes, because I saw it happen last year.
Well, they had no choice. And again, I got to believe that Greg Popovich is going to let young players play. He's got to. He doesn't have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a veteran guy,
Brent Forbes,
taking minutes.
Doug McDermott, Al-Farouq Amino, Thaddeus Young.
Those guys aren't going to take minutes from the young guys. They can't.
Mm-hmm.
Pop can't drive down this road that way.
Mm-hmm.
If this is the direction you're going, and you're going young, and you're making trades for expiring deals, which is smart, you realize those guys will get some minutes, but they can't get a ton of minutes. They can't. You're gonna if those young guys are still here, if there's not another trade in the works, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was a trade in the works. You can't go down this direction in your roster construction and then decide that Aminu is a 30-minute-a-night guy. He can't be. I mean, that would make zero sense. Zero.
Well, he's not getting 30 a minute, but you split up 10 between Hutchinson, Thad Young, and Aminu, and all of a sudden that's 10 apiece. That's 30 minutes. All vets. And Luka's strapped to the bench again.
I don't mind if Luka's strapped to the bench.
I do. Prove to me he was a failure of a pick.
I wouldn't mind if we never saw Luka again. Honestly,
I want them to either come out and tell me they messed up or show me that they messed up.
I think if we never see Luka again, I think that's fine. I've given up hope on Luka. I hope at some point he's able to prove me wrong, but I've given up hope on Luka. So if they're taking minutes from Luka, yeah, I understand that. I'm with you there. If Bryn Forbes is in the end of games again, I know they're not really trying to win. I look at this and I know exactly what the Spurs plan is now, and it's not to be a playoff team. And I'm good with that. And you're right, kind of like you watching the Rockets last year. If I get to see young kids develop, and I get to see them play, and I get to see them make their mistakes, but then get better, that's what you want to see.
Telling you, it was a great season.
You say that now, it's August. That's not what you were saying during the season. You were miserable, and there's going to be growing pains. But I do think from a Spurs fan standpoint, the interest in the San Antonio Spurs has shifted, and it's shifted the last couple of years, to be honest. It's gone from it's title or nothing, that I'll start paying attention in the Western Conference Finals, that I'm not going to a game until it matters. I'm not going unless it's a T-shirt kind of game. To now, the frustration has been, why aren't we seeing these guys develop? Why are we spending so much time in Austin with these guys? Get rid of this guy, get rid of that guy, get rid of that guy. Let's see them develop. And it's fun to watch these guys grow, which tells me that a lot of Spurs fans are accepting of the fact that this isn't going to be a championship team. It's not going to be a playoff team, but the interest is there. Be really good or be really bad. But if you're going to be really bad, show me that you're trying to get better, and I'll keep paying attention to you. And that's what the San Antonio Spurs need. That's what Greg Popovich has to understand. And with this roster construction, I do think we're going to see the young guys play. I know you're not going to be very good. You're my team. I'm going to keep watching you. But you want me to pay attention to you? Show me growth. Let me see with my own eyes these guys get better. Let me see, when I see the social media comments from DeJounte and from Keldon that, hey, we've been talking about it. It's our time. Well, take over. Take over. DeJounte, unless you get traded, man, you've got the keys to the car. If you've got the keys to the car, like any of us that have had a teenage driver, you're going to hit curbs. We know there might be a pole. We know there might be, some bad things happen. You might scrape the garage.
Back into the fire hydrant.
We know you're going to get speeding tickets. We know you're going to spill something. We know that's all going to happen. But do you learn from those mistakes? Can we see you get better? A lot of teenage drivers don't want to get on the highway right away. They'll take access roads all over the place. Right? A couple months later, then you can't get them off the highway. Then you can't get them out of the right lane going 55, and then they're in the left lane going 90. Right? I mean, we've all, those of us that have kids of driving age and that have gone through that, that's what we want to see our Spurs do. Just get better. I'm interested as long as I see growth potential. But as I saw somebody put up there that Bryn Forbes is going to get Patty minutes. He brings three-point shooting. I mean, he's going to get some minutes. But see, again, if Bryn is in at the end of games, as defensive-minded as Bryn Forbes is, they're not playing to win. Knock down a three, give up a three. Although Bryn's second time around hopefully will be better. Because there were times I was watching the Milwaukee Bucks going, where was that Bryn Forbes in San Antonio? Welcome home, Bryn. Glad to have you. Hall of Fame weekend was fantastic. Who's next? Is Tony Romo a Hall of Famer? Let me rephrase that. Is Tony Romo a first ballot Hall of Famer? 656 ESPN, 656-3776. You want to dial up the Kielbasa Bacon phone lines. He's going to headline the first year eligible guys next year. Is he a Hall of Famer? What about DeMarcus Ware? What's the next great Cowboy to go into the Hall of Fame? We'll talk about that as we continue here on the Blitz and recap what a great weekend in Canton, Ohio for Drew Pearson and Jimmy Johnson and so many others. You know, if your brakes are bad or you think they're going bad, you know you need to get them fixed. Do us all a favor and get them fixed. Jason Minix here for New Brakes. NewBrakes.com is the website. New Brakes is a mobile brake shop. That means they will come to you to fix your brakes. They provide convenient and affordable brake repairs, and they only fix brakes. You're not going to get the upsells like at a traditional repair shop. Most repairs are done in less than an hour, and they only use premium brake parts, and they do back all repairs with a 24-month, 24,000-mile warranty. Save 10% when you mention my name or San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, at nubrakes.com. We're all busy. None of us have time to go spend hours waiting at a repair shop or want to deal with the hassle of dropping your car off and going back to get it the next day. That's the beauty of New Brakes. They come to you. You continue to do what you do. They'll come to your office. They'll come to your home, wherever you are, and they're going to fix your brakes, and they're great at what they do. Go read all the 5-star reviews and schedule your repair now at nubrakes.com. That's nubrakes.com.
ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
This confirms it. The wait is over. How about that? The original number 88 being presented for enshrinement in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
That's right, Cowboys fans. Some of the fan favorites of Dallas franchise are finally in the Hall of Fame. After a 33-year wait, Drew Pearson seemed to be one of the highest energy recipients of this weekend's ceremony, while Jimmy Johnson took the time to reflect live with Jerry Jones during his speech.
To go from the worst team in the league 2 years in a row to winning back-to-back Super Bowls and building a heck of a football team. We did it, and let me tell you, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, Jerry.
Those are your Cowboys headlines from over the weekend. For San Antonio Sports Star, I'm Carl Schoening.
If you're thinking about a compact tractor and you want the best, you can afford a Kubota. Hi, I'm John Ewald with Ewald Kubota. Come into one of our 10 locations and check out the Kubota L2501 tractor package deal, which includes a 4-wheel drive tractor with a hydrostatic transmission, a front loader, a rear mower, a box blade, and a trailer, all for one low price. With a deal this good, you can afford a Kubota from Ewald Kubota. Check out our package deals at ewaldkubota.com.
Join us this Thursday at Slackers Medical Center to celebrate the launch of San Antonio Sports Star. Our whole crew will be on site battling it out in a special edition of Sports Star Olympics, basketball, beer pong, darts, and you could win cash prizes, Sports Star swag, and John Mayer tickets. It's all going down this Thursday at Slackers Medical Center location starting at 4 with the Blitz, the official San Antonio Sports Star launch party with our friends at Slacker Sports and Arcade Bar. We'll see you out there.
Hey everybody, Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage and Rocket Companies. Last year, we saw historically low mortgage interest rates. In fact, over 1 million homeowners took advantage of refinancing or buying a new home with Rocket Mortgage. What you may not know is that interest rates are already starting to increase again, and it's likely that trend is only going to continue. Our team of experts is standing by to help you save before rates go up. With an official mortgage review from Rocket Mortgage, you'll see just how much money you could save by making a move right now. Don't look back over these next few weeks and wish that you had taken action. You could save hundreds on your mortgage payments or pay off your home loan earlier than planned. You could even take cash out of your home to pay off high-interest debt, complete home repairs, or bulk up on an emergency fund. When you want to secure a low rate, Rocket can. Call 833-8ROCKET or visit rocketmortgage.com.
Rocket. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
The granddaddy of all hunting shows returns to San Antonio. The 2021 Hunters Extravaganza, August 20th through the 22nd at the Freeman Coliseum Expo Hall. Bring the kids and see Gator Country's huge alligators and last season's bucks in our annual deer contest. Check out the latest in hunting gadgets and gear and enter our locked and loaded mega giveaway to win big. August 20th through the 22nd at the Freeman Coliseum Expo Hall. For details and tickets, go to huntersextravaganza.com. A Texas Trophy Hunters production.
Prescription products require an online consultation. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
When my husband started having trouble in the bedroom, I thought, is it me?
But then we found forhims.com, and now our sex life is
better than ever.
Forhims.com connects you to doctors online who can prescribe FDA-approved ED medication if appropriate. Then, Hims ships right to your door in discreet packaging. Just go to forhims.com/better to get your first visit free.
It was great to get what I need online without scheduling an appointment or going into the doctor's office.
Hims offers the same active ingredient as name brands and costs 90% less.
I couldn't believe how fast, easy, and inexpensive it was.
Rise to the occasion or get your money back. Go to forhims.com/better to get your first visit free. No copay required. The only way to get this special offer is to go to forhims.com/better. forhims.com/better.
When your AC fails in the San Antonio heat, there is no time to search. Save Service First in your contacts and have an AC tech on speed dial 24/7. Service First. Save us before you need us.
Tap Service First in your phone. 521-1500.
Jason Minix, The Blitz.
Is Tony Romo a Hall of Famer? Is Tony Romo a first ballot Hall of Famer? It is The Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. You can dial us up on the Kia Bossa Bacon phone lines, 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776 on Twitter, at Jason Minix. Or you can comment on Facebook or on our YouTube. Go back to that one that was just on there. Prince Obi-Wan says, if Romo gets in, might as well just start adding kickers. Dude, there's kickers in the Hall. Now, he would never go in as a holder. Damn sure he would never go in as a holder. Alfred Villarreal, maybe Romo gets in the NFL Hall of Fame as a scratch golfer. It's possible. Witten, will he be the next one to go in? It's a great question because when did Witten officially retire? Has he got 4 more years?
Yeah, he's got a minute.
Also, Moose. Now, Daryl Johnston is not a Hall of Famer. Daryl Johnston was a great Cowboy. But he's not a Hall of Famer. Not everybody on those great teams is a Hall of Famer. Quite frankly, Daryl Johnston is not going to ever be in the Cowboys Ring of Honor. I wonder if Tony Romo will be in the Ring of Honor. Well, of course he will be. I say that. And I'm a Romo-sexual. I love Tony Romo. I really do. But when Jerry Jones told Jimmy Johnson Thursday night before the Cowboys preseason game against the Steelers that Tex Ram said, keep it limited and make sure you can't tell the story of the Cowboys without that person. Clearly, Jimmy Johnson is going in. But can you tell the Cowboys story without Tony Romo? Difficult. He's got a great story. He really does. Undrafted. Bill Parcells, of all people, kept him around, gave him the opportunity. Bill, not Chan Gailey or some knucklehead, but it was Bill Parcells. But I look at Tony Romo and what's the story? Almost. What if? But for that. Does that get you in the Ring of Honor? Does that get you in the Hall of Fame? Man, if Patrick Creighton was ready for the moment, they would have beat the Giants after a week in Mexico. Dez caught it. Those 2 Super Bowls right there that got away. Think about it. All the great seasons, all the incredible yardage. Some of those teams were so poor. that Tony Romo was the only reason why they had a chance to win? And at the same time, Tony Romo was a lot of the reasons why they lost a bunch of games. There is a broadcasting wing of the Hall of Fame. He's not close to that yet. One day. One day. But the Pro Football Hall of Fame does have a broadcast wing or a media wing. The likes of John McClain are in it, Al Michaels, Shereen Williams. But I think about Tony Romo for so many games. The only reason they had a chance to win, and because of his effort and trying to win so bad, he was the reason they lost. Hall of Famer, it's going to be an interesting debate. First ballot Hall of Famer? Hell no. Hell no.
You brought up the catch. Des caught it.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Creighton.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of ifs and woulds and coulds. There's another Cowboys quarterback that's not in the Hall of Fame that had a lot of ifs and woulds and coulds befall him.
You know, you think about Danny White, and he gets a bad rap. Danny White was a far better quarterback than he gets credit for, than what memory serves. Danny White does have a Super Bowl ring. Starting punter on that Super Bowl 12 team. Went to a couple of NFC championship games.
3, right?
I believe so, yeah. You think about the catch. The first one. You know, that one that some dude in Montana, Dwight or whatever, you know.
Mm.
You know, that wasn't at the end of the game, although everybody thinks that was a game-winning catch as time expired because memory is what it is. Drew Pearson, who just went into the Hall of Fame, they had tearaway jerseys. Might have scored a touchdown if it wasn't for that jersey not being able to rip away so he could go sprinting in to all the glory that was. Instead, the Cowboys lose, and Danny White's name is mud.
Needed to shop at Earl Campbell's jersey store.
You know, different times, man. I mean, you look at it, and yeah, I mean that's there. You know, so many different opportunities. I look at DeMarcus Ware is on the list for getting in notable first-year guys. Tony Romo tops the list. Steve Smith, first year. Andre Johnson, I think Andre gets in, but I don't know about on first.
Not
first year. Now, one of the things that I do need to go back and look before I start saying yes, yes, no, no, is there's so many that have been eligible that haven't made the cut yet. All the semifinalists, and then the finalists before they make the Hall. How many of those guys are going to have an opportunity because this year's class for first-year eligibilities doesn't have a Peyton Manning type that's a no-brainer, that doesn't have a Tom Brady, although according to Peyton, we won't have to worry about that till 2040. I look at Robert Mathis. He's a Hall of Famer, but is he first ballot? Vince Wilfork? Maybe. Not for what he did in Houston, obviously, although the man can barbecue. Mario Williams, why is that dude even on the list? Did you ever see Mario Williams play and go, that dude's a Hall of Famer?
Nope.
DeMarcus Ware does have a Super Bowl ring. I think of all the guys that are listed that have the best chance of being a first ballot Hall of Famer, it is DeMarcus Ware. But even then, if you're trying to argue against DeMarcus to get somebody else in, like Darren Woodson, I would put Darren Woodson in before DeMarcus Ware. If John Lynch can go in the Hall of Fame as a safety, why the hell is Darren Woodson not in the Hall of Fame? Rings. DeMarcus Ware, the bulk of his career, told the same story that Tony Romo did. Close. Jason Witten is going to be a different story when it's his turn, because of how he played the game and for as long as he played the game. And that one game against the Philadelphia Eagles when he lost his helmet and kept going. That's going to be the photo you see. I'm glad that he came back and played that year with the Raiders after Monday Night Football, because people will forget that Monday night thing. That won't detract from Jason Witten's greatness and going into the Hall of Fame. Jason Witten is a no doubt first ballot Hall of Famer.
You wanted to know some of the players that just missed the cut? I went back to last year's semifinalists and took out the ones who got in.
Okay.
Cornerback Eric Allen. Defensive end Jared Allen. Tackle Willie Roaf. Corner Rondé Barber. Linebacker Cornelius Bennett. Tackle Tony Baselli. Safety Leroy Butler. Safety Rodney Harrison. Linebacker Clay Matthews. Not that Clay Matthews, the one that played for the Browns way back in the day. Data Matthews. Torrey Holt, Sam Mills, Richard Seymour, Steve Tasker, Fred Taylor, Zach Thomas, Hines Ward, Reggie Wayne, Patrick Willis, Darren Woodson, and Bryant Young were all semifinalists last year.
You know, I think, do I need to make my case for Darren Woodson?
Yes.
I mean, because you look at that list and don't you say all of them? I mean, honestly, was there anybody on that list that you just read that were semifinalists that did not make the cut this go round that you say, why is that guy on there? Now, some of those are going to have to wait. And
Steve Tasker?
I mean, you go back and you think about his career.
He's a great special teams player.
Well, and again, the special teams are a part of it. I mean, you look at it. He's not great on television, but, you know, you go back and, I mean, do you know how hard it is to lose 4 Super Bowls in a row? I mean, do you know how difficult it is to get to 4 straight Super Bowls and lose? On YouTube, somebody says Hines Ward higher than Andre Johnson. You know, and that's one of the things with the wide receivers that are coming in. You know, with Isaac Bruce going in, does that put some distance for Torrey Holt to be a part of that group? Or do they all get in there? Rondé Barber, should he be in there next to John Lynch, knowing how well they played on those Tampa defenses? You know, I'm going to go with Cowboy. I'm going to go Darren Woodson. I think that man is long overdue.
Two Cowboys. You heard Jimmy bring him up in his speech, him and Zach Thomas.
I agree. And again, Zach and, you know, and Jimmy will be the first to point out that he knows what a Hall of Famer looks like. He's recruited a bunch of them and drafted a bunch of them and acquired a bunch of them.
13.
When you look at it, I think you need to get to 15. I mean, I agree with him there. I mean, it's just easier math. You don't want to be stuck on 13. You know, 14 I'll take as long as it's Woody. You know, because I think Woodson should have been in there a long time ago. That was one of the knocks on those great Cowboy teams is you had the triplets go in, but at the same time, with the triplets going in, that shadowed some of what you saw on the defensive side of things. You know, and I think that's one of the reasons why Darren Woodson hasn't made it into this point. But I do think the Hall of Fame will be calling him. It'll be a while for Tony Romo. I just can't see Tony Romo going in anytime soon. I'd be surprised if the voters put him in. Stats alone, sure. But playoff wins matter when you talk about the Hall of Fame. That's why I think Eli gets in. Eli's got 2 rings. You look at his stats, you look at Eli's stats, and we all know what we think of Eli. But at the same time, guys got 2 rings. They were either going to the Super Bowl or not making the playoffs. It was one or the other. It kind of felt like that with Eli. But he does have 2 rings, and that's a big part of it. Jonathan Shepard says if Andre Johnson would have played with Tom Brady, he would have broken every record, never had a quarterback. And that's a part of his story. And the numbers that he put up with the crap quarterbacks that he played with are impressive. But does that make you a first ballot Hall of Famer? It's going to be interesting to see. It's always fun. It's a fun debate, and we start looking ahead. It was a fun weekend watching the Hall of Fame. We'll talk about it and tell you about Drew. And any Lions fans out there, if you're a Lions fan, Tweet at me. I might have something for you. 656-ESPN, 656-3776 is the phone number on the Kia Bossa Bacon phone lines, or on Twitter. Tweet at me at Jason Minix. If you're having any issues at the house with your AC, maybe your plumbing, there's one company to call, and that is Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heating, and AC. 210-651-5899. At Quarter Moon, they are full service, experts at worst case scenarios, big job, small job, residential or commercial. Their service trucks are fully stocked, and they have all the equipment needed for any job. At Quarter Moon, they do not have commission sales reps. They'll provide estimates and second opinions. They have a great experienced staff that has earned an A-plus ranking with the Better Business Bureau. And at Quarter Moon, they are green certified. 210-651-5899 is the phone number. 651-5899 or online, quartermoonplumbing.com.
Here's pitch.
W Power. Double your fun. Double your Rangers pleasure. The explosive action happens here on the official home plate of the Texas Rangers. ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Injuries happen, so if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries and has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. There is no reason to be in pain. If you are hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Learn more at TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com, or schedule your appointment by calling 210-804-5490.
Oh, according to research, 82% of people remember radio ads. So 82% of you listening will remember that this is an ad for ZipRecruiter. 82% of you will note that if you're hiring, ZipRecruiter finds qualified people for your job. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And 82% of you will remember that you can try ZipRecruiter for free, but you have to go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Yes, free. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
O'Reilly Auto Parts specializes in keeping your car on the road. Not sure how much life is left in your battery? Our professional parts people will test it for free. If it does need to be replaced, we'll help you find just the right one to fit your car. Our Superstar batteries are built to handle even the toughest conditions. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Guys, stop what you're doing. Give me a few seconds of your time and let me give you a piece of advice that will change your love life forever. Have you noticed you've been losing a little pep in your step? Has your lady friend asked you, is everything okay? Do you find yourself having trouble rising for the occasion? Do you stress out before that special moment and wonder, is it gonna work? Guys, I'm going to let you in on a big secret. You don't ever have to worry again. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula has you covered. Mojo is the 100% guaranteed male enhancement formula that guarantees lasting success, if you know what I mean. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula is safe, natural, and effective every single time, guaranteed. Mojo is available in a fast-acting spray and a quick-action capsule. Do yourself and her a favor and call Pure Line Nutrition in San Antonio today. They'll get you set up for success. Call 210-494-2210. That number again is 210-494-2210. Mojo Male Enhancement, only available at Pure Line Nutrition.
1, 2, 3.
Live and local sports talk. To get you out the door, Rob Thompson, Rudy J. R&R in the morning on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
This is Greeny, weekdays 10 a.m. to noon on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Don't forget R&R in the morning. Rob Thompson, Rudy J, 7 to 10 tomorrow morning. We'll get you going. They're either napping or watching the Spurs Summer Leaguers right now take on Minnesota out in Las Vegas. Minnesota leads 24-22. Just under 9 to play in the first half. It is the Blitz. I'm Jason Minix. Glad to have you along here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. We got a 4-pack of tickets to give away right now to the Hunters Extravaganza coming up at the Freeman Coliseum Expo Hall here in a couple of weeks, August 20th through the 22nd. Always a fun time. Missed it last year because of COVID. Glad it's coming around this year. You want to go, be caller number 5 at 656-ESPN, 656-3776. Caller 5, you get a family 4-pack of tickets to the Hunters Extravaganza. These tickets are good for any day. So if you don't want to take the kids, you could go a couple of times because you'll have 4 tickets. It's that cool. Caller number 5, 656-ESPN, 656-3776. I mentioned if there's any Lions fans out there. For Drew Pearson going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, I ordered a T-shirt for Drew Pearson going into the Hall of Fame from the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And it came in the mail, delivered on Friday. I went down and checked the mail, which is something I don't do often, and I opened up the package because I got the notification that the package had arrived. And look at this shirt. If you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube, isn't this a beautiful lion blue Megatron Hall of Fame shirt? It's not Drew Pearson's. The Hall is actually sending me a new one. I called them, said, hey, I got the wrong one. They said, we did. Oops, sorry. I said, well, send me a label so I could send this back because there wasn't a label there. They said, keep it. I said, well, I don't want it. What am I supposed to do with a Calvin Johnson shirt? They said, give it to a friend. I said, I don't know anybody that likes the Lions. I don't know one person. I take that back. I know one person that likes the Lions, but he wears a medium. That's extra large. So if you want an extra large Lion shirt, just saying, I have one. Free. What am I going to do with it? I mean, I would never wear that. It's not like if it was Peyton Manning, go, man, maybe because it's Peyton. But no. Megatron, I don't even think I ever had that dude on my fantasy teams. I really don't. And if I did, I didn't win any money with them or I'd remember them. I remember those that helped me win money. And I don't think that I did. But I do look at Drew Pearson going into the Hall of Fame and couldn't be happier for Drew Pearson. I've known Drew for a long time. I do consider Drew Pearson a personal friend. And watching him up there on that stage, I don't think anybody enjoyed the moment any more than Drew Pearson.
The wait is over! Over! How about that?
And I was proud that Drew made it through without completely losing it. And he actually did it in less than 6 minutes or less than 8 minutes. Whatever the time was, he got the time right. He wasn't that far over.
He went for 12.
He went for 12? Well, they never played music. Did he really go 12? I didn't put a stopwatch on it.
Yeah, I pulled the audio today. It was about 12:20.
Well, when do they start the clock? When he actually starts the speech or the bust? And was his bust not fantastic with the afro and the goatee? I mean, I thought the guy did a really good job with Troy Polamalu's hair, but my goodness, they got Drew Pearson
and Alan Faneca's
on.
hair too.
Yeah, especially because you see him now, you don't realize that's the same dude. Love that about the offensive line. When you see him later in life, you go, man, I'm glad you're doing all right. It's going to be a fun show tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow at 4. Don't forget R&R in the morning. Rob Thompson, Rudy J, they get you going at 7 right after KZ here on San Antonio Sports Star.
Not everybody can make it to every game, but every game can make it to everybody.